Welcome to the first season of CrossFire West League 2026. See this year's start of the Western League as 8 participating teams from all over the CrossFire West region battle it out in March to May in order to claim the throne and compete over a total prize pool of $228,000. For the first season of 2026, get treated to 3 months of high-stakes action, as the season consists of 2 regular season phases and a double elimination playoffs where legends are created. In the regular season, Phase 1, all 8 teams are included in a single group where they all play best of 3 matches in a single round-robin format. Support your favorite teams as every match counts here. Every performance in Phase 1 will determine which 4 teams will be part of the Elite group, where they are guaranteed playoffs, while the other 4 teams in the Contender group will either fight for playoffs or relegation. Expect no resets, as results accumulated in Phase 1 are carried over in the next phase of the competition. In the regular season Phase 2, witness teams from both groups compete in a single round-robin format within their same group. For the elites, this is their chance to secure advancement to the upper bracket round 2 of the playoffs. As for the contenders, be ready to see some of them say their goodbyes. In the playoffs, the 6 remaining teams will brawl in 10 total grueling best-of-5 blood fights in a double elimination bracket. 3 consecutive victories will result in a chance for royalty, while 2 defeats mean the end of a valiant journey. Legacies either move forward or are cut short. Here in the finals, experience a grand bout between a challenger from a victorious path and an adversary that has once tasted setbacks to determine who will be crowned champion of the CrossFire West League Season 1. Not a memory, a movie. Every round, every map, every series is a mark of a continuous history. This is the road of recovery for the old glory. CrossFire West League, reclaim the throne.
They have a lot of info to work with, but they have got to be careful not to get caught off guard here. You can see a nice nade kill goes their way, but Hunt on the flank, able to get 2 big kills.
Even though Nemesis is 4-1 up, it feels like a much closer game purely because of these scenarios. Good kill from the back of the site for Sad. Ducking and diving. Now Dipsy in an awkward position. Does find one. Trade isn't quick enough though. Gives Dipsy a chance. He's going to run him down. More than enough time for that defuse. Kiko's in the corner. Lion Claw and Zen have rotated in. Flex and Spoxy are going to be here too. All 10 players are pretty much going to be on the side of the server. Finally, the first kill comes through and the bloodbath will begin. Oh my goodness, it's an absolute cluster. It's ended up in a 1v1, would you believe? It's Spoxy versus Dizzy, and Spoxy will complete. Unless they can't remove Flex, which surely they will, him being so low. There's an extra kill though. Now Alucard's a little bit nervous knowing that he could catch him, and Flex has caught him.
No trigger discipline here, and Snake and Snare, both the dynamic duo, a walking path through a small tight angle here, takes another one, and a Snake pushing here, pretty aggressive, holding the pistol, not 1 but 2, 3, 4 players in front of him, taking a pretty massive swing here with a triple kill. Come on, Todson! His teammate just thought that he's jealous. Like, yeah, he is also playing with the sniper, and Snox topping it down, taking 1, 2, make it 3.
Yeah, maybe only a flash in the pan for Nemesis.
Yeah, right now Nemesis struggling in mid, but maybe not for too much longer. Dipsy, a nice double kill, making a triple kill.
Someone holds the stairs, and the other guy is just using the smokes or having his back down. Speaking of having your back, Horus doesn't need anyone to support him. Slayer is here of the group. LSN just grabs 1, 2 and make it 3 to clutch the round in a 1v3 fashion.
Okay, minute to go now. Coming down the stairs, lots of noise. Big holds on for 2 though. That's a brilliant job from him, and a bit of flash support at the end. A lovely 3rd, there's a 4th. He is farming right now.
display a lot of stuff for them. Alucard going through the stairs, dropping Todd's in and Snake down. It's left to 1v1. He's pretty low in HP, trying to defuse him, but he goes for the fake.
Those lives for free. What they've done to get that early 5v3. Oh my goodness, Kai's is so blind.
They're just going to move. And on Knights now, they get caught. Dirty punch the first opener, and there's Famous for the 1, make it 2, and there's Famous. Who needs it? These players now swing. Dirty's gone. His head's removed. He gets a fresh haircut, but now Doom. What do you have in store for us? And it is a double. Can he find this triple? It's labored. Now for LCK, where they want to go with this. The C4 is kind of on catwalk. They need to be careful. And oh man, that's a nice kill from Dirty. There it is. That's what we're talking about. A quad kill to serve it up on a cold platter.
Omega can double down here. He's going to have to. He gets Jaguar. He knows there's more. See, this is what I'm talking about. Omega just gets 4.
Really tucking the tail. Knife out. There we go.
Oh my God. Aggression in the round seems to be one of the key points of resistance here. Jin, that's a good shot. Needs a little bit more. He gets 2 or 3 even. Very nice round out from Jin. Start from Omega. Getting himself 2, but he needs more than that. And Josh is able to actually find the triple there. Unwinnable round here for Swamp, particularly with that entry from Awesome, but they're going to need more. Kai's will have a pivotal role to play, but he falls to Alucard, and with that, it might just be the dream dead. Jin is on his own. Oh, okay.
It's an absolute massacre coming through. Pistol pulled out. Slayer has gone absolutely nuclear.
We'll see whether or not there's going to be any mummification going on in this series. Right now, it looks like it's actually Anubis that might be on the receiving end of that. How has Peck gotten away with a third there, by the way? I don't know. He's popped off in this round, and it's looking like it's going to be a banger of a start for Nemesis. Just Muffin left alive here at the bottom.
Feels a little dicey. We're diving in. It's pretty low. Put that C4 down, which is huge. We're going to try and make a move here as he goes on the corner. Nice find from him, and a second. The pistol pulled out. That is 2 really quick kills and making another. He's on for an absolute clip here.
Exactly what he is doing, but he's done it so late in the round that he might actually get the timing right. Anubis, oh, I have no idea. Doom's going to go down as well. Somehow Omega has threaded the needle and given 3BL a chance in this round. And all in the meanwhile, Gano is on the other side of the map. This is ridiculous.
Stay by Foxy already. That might make them not check him in the corner, but he's been seen now, that's for sure. And Famous will just about survive behind the boxes. Warbang frags will come through from Lionclaw. Gets a second on Famous after all that damage he's done, and it's a great round from Lionclaw to start us off here. Alright. Can it actually happen? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe Unlights will actually try and not complete embarrassment. Oh, maybe it will be complete embarrassment. They will pick Foxy 1 by 1. What a way to finish it.
Doesn't News actually clear this, I should say, because if they don't, this is an opportunity for Frapsy to find himself a heroic play that's very much needed. Muffin does spot it, but he doesn't do a good job clearing it, so now Frapsy finds himself two. Oh, why not make it a third? They threw double nades on there. I mean, he'd be a dead man. He actually swings this. Wow, he swings this so wide. I thought he would have saw them. Oh, how does he get away with that? How does that even work? What? I don't know how he finds that kill and makes it a triple two. Hang on a second. This post plant, it is falling apart.
JK.
Yeah, JK, LOL indeed. Yeah, okay, 15! What is that? What is that? How does he find a triple like that? This
To suss things, it will. They're having a bit of a look into mid, but they've decided to go, and the timing looks to be pretty decent. This could actually work out for Nemesis. Alucard for two. Horus and Snake fall, and now Totson as well. Still well set up to defend A, and all of B has now been cleared out by Vitality, so they're going to start to send the forces across, and Nemesis are aware of that. They have to hit the site quick, and Tipsy, well, he's taken matters into his own hands. A triple kill on the entry will make this round interesting.
to the historical ways of, just being that ultra aggressive team, and they don't even allow the smokes to come through. Damp trying to go for some shots. He actually brings the pistol out. Nice little bit of a double two, so that's the bomb drop. Salty just hanging by, but look at Damp. Where that's always the worst part, right? One of the worst parts. Oh, Muffin. Yeah, that sounds good too when you give your backup like that. And
much see everything. That kill onto Dirty will alert some attentions. Damp and Frapsy, finally some kills here for them.
We're calling for some reinforcements now. They are kind of tripping over each other a little bit though, but he still makes up for it and gets two very nicely. Hunter's coming through a little bit late, should get caught by Kai, so it's exactly what happens. Now Sad and DZY are the final two players remaining, and they're going to drop into Kai's from the heavens into hell. Now the force through from long. Vitality up against it. And that's why he's flanking up from short, coming through that smoke. Will Snake get caught in the open from that? He doesn't somehow. He flips around and takes the kill. Finds Famous 2. Oh, a third is unbelievable. Wow. Lots of damage on Pietro. How is he still standing? I'm not quite sure. Pistol now drawn, and Horus is there to help. That is the X factor from Vitality.
Welcome to the first season of CrossFire West League 2026. See this year's start of the Western League as 8 participating teams from all over the CrossFire West region battle it out in March to May in order to claim the throne and compete over a total prize pool of $228,000. For the first season of 2026, get treated to 3 months of high-stakes action, as the season consists of 2 regular season phases and a double elimination playoffs where legends are created. In the regular season, Phase 1, all 8 teams are included in a single group where they all play best of 3 matches in a single round-robin format. Support your favorite teams as every match counts here. Every performance in Phase 1 will determine which 4 teams will be part of the Elite group, where they are guaranteed playoffs, while the other 4 teams in the Contender group will either fight for playoffs or relegation. Expect no resets, as results accumulated in Phase 1 are carried over in the next phase of the competition. In the regular season Phase 2, witness teams from both groups compete in a single round-robin format within their same group. For the elites, this is their chance to secure advancement to the upper bracket round 2 of the playoffs. As for the contenders, be ready to see some of them say their goodbyes. In the playoffs, the 6 remaining teams will brawl in 10 total grueling best-of-5 blood fights in a double elimination bracket. 3 consecutive victories will result in a chance for royalty, while 2 defeats mean the end of a valiant journey. Legacies either move forward or are cut short. Here in the finals, experience a grand bout between a challenger from a victorious path and an adversary that has once tasted setbacks, to determine who will be crowned champion of the CrossFire West League Season 1. Not a memory, a movie. Every round, every map, every series is a mark of a continuous history. This is the road of recovery for the old glory. CrossFire West League, reclaim the throne.
Have a lot of info to work with, but they have got to be careful not to get caught off guard. Here you can see a nice nade kill goes their way, but Hunt on the flank, able to get 2 big kills.
Even though Nemesis are 4-1 up, it feels like a much closer game purely because of these scenarios. Good kill from the back of the site for Sad. Ducking and diving, now Dipsy in an awkward position. Does find one, Trade isn't quick enough though. Gives Dipsy a chance, he's going to run him down. More than enough time for that defuse. Kiko's in the corner, Lion Claw and Zen have rotated in. Flex and Spoxy are going to be here too. All 10 players are pretty much going to be on this side of the server. Finally the first kill comes through and the bloodbath will begin. Oh my goodness, it's an absolute cluster. It's ended up in a 1v1, would you believe? It's Spoxy versus Dizzy, and Spoxy will complete. Unless they can't remove Flex, which surely they will. Him being so low. There's an extra kill though. Now Alucard's a little bit nervous knowing that he could catch him, and Flex has caught him.
No trigger discipline here, and Snake and Snare, both the dynamic duo, a walking path through a small tight angle here, takes another one, and a Snake pushing here, pretty aggressive, holding the pistol, not 1 but 2, 3, 4 players in front of him, taking a pretty massive swinging with a triple kill. Come on, Dodson! His teammate just felt that he's jealous. Like, yeah, he is also playing with the sniper, and Snox thumbing it down, taking 1, 2, make it 3.
Yeah, maybe only a flash in the pan for Nemesis.
Yeah, right now Nemesis struggling in mid, but maybe not for too much longer. Dipsy, a nice double kill, make it a triple kill.
Someone holds the stairs, and the other guy is just using the smokes or having his back down. Speaking of having your back, Horus doesn't need anyone to support him. Slayer is here of the group. LSN just grabs 1, 2 and make it 3 to clutch the round in a 1v3 fashion.
Okay, minute to go now. Coming down the stairs, lots of noise. Big holds on for 2 though. That's a brilliant job from him, and a bit of flash support at the end. A lovely 3rd, there's a 4th. He is farming right now.
Play a lot of stuff for them. Alucard going through the stairs, dropping Todzin and a Snake down. It's left to 1v1. He's pretty low in HP, trying to defuse him, but he goes for the fake.
Done to get that early 5v3. Oh my goodness, Kaiser's so blind.
Double kill.
They're just going to move. And on Knights now, they get caught. Dirty finds the first opener, and there's Famous for the 1, make it 2, and there's Famous. Who needs it? These players now swing. Dirty's gone. His head's removed. He gets a fresh haircut, but now Doom. What do you have in store for us? And it is a double. Can he find this triple? It's labored. And now for LCK. Where they want to go with this. The C4 is kind of on catwalk. They need to be careful. And oh man, that's a nice kill from Dirty. There it is. That's what we're talking about, a quad kill to serve it up on a cold platter.
See if Omega can double down here. He's going to have to. He gets Jaguar. He knows there's more. See, this is what I'm talking about. Omega just gets 4.
Really tucking the tail, knife out. There we go.
Oh my God. Aggression in the round seems to be one of the key points of resistance here. Jin, that's a good shot, needs a little bit more. He gets 2 or 3 even. Very nice round out from Jin. Start from Omega. Getting himself 2, but he needs more than that. And Josh is able to actually find the triple there. Unwinnable round here for Swamp, particularly with that entry from Awesome, but they're going to need more. Kai's will have a pivotal role to play, but he falls to Alucard, and with that, it might just be the dream dead. Jin is on his own. Oh, okay.
It's an absolute massacre coming through. Pistol pulled out. Slayer has gone absolutely nuclear.
We'll see whether or not there's going to be any mummification going on in this series. Right now, it looks like it's actually Anubis that might be on the receiving end of that. How has Peck gotten away with a third there, by the way? I don't know. He's popped off in this round, and it's looking like it's going to be a banger of a start for Nemesis. Just Muffin left alive here at the bottom.
Feels a little dicey. Diving in. It's pretty low. Put that C4 down, which is huge. We're going to try and make a move here as he goes on the corner. Nice find from him, and a second. The pistol pulled out. That is 2 really quick kills and making another. He's on for an absolute clip here.
Exactly what he is doing, but he's done it so late in the round that he might actually get the timing right. Anubis, oh, I have no idea. Doom's going to go down as well. Somehow Omega has threaded the needle and given 3BL a chance in this round, and all in the meanwhile, Gaino is on the other side of the map. This is ridiculous.
Stayed by Foxy already. That might make them not check him in the corner, but he's been seen now, that's for sure. And Famous will just about survive behind the boxes. Warbang frags will come through from Lionclaw. Gets a second on Famous after all that damage he's done, and it's a great round from Lionclaw to start us off here. Alright. Can it actually happen? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe Unlights will actually try and not complete embarrassment. Oh, maybe it will be complete embarrassment. They will pick Foxy 1 by 1. What a way to finish it.
Doesn't News actually clear this, I should say, because if they don't, this is an opportunity for Frapsy to find himself a heroic play that's very much needed. Muffin does spot it, but he doesn't do a good job clearing it, so now Frapsy finds himself 2. Oh, why not make it a 3rd? They threw double nades on there. I mean, he'd be a dead man. He actually swings this. Wow, he swings this so wide. I thought he would have saw them. How does he get away with that? How does that even work? What? I don't know how he finds that kill and makes it a triple 2. Hang on a second, this post plant, it is falling apart. JK. Yeah, JK, LOL indeed. Yeah, okay, Christine! What is that? What is that? How does he find a triple like that? This
To Sustings, it will. They're having a bit of a look into mid, but they've decided to go, and the timing looks to be pretty decent. This could actually work out for Nemesis. Alucard for 2. Horus and Snake fall, and now Totson as well. Still well set up to defend A, and all of B has now been cleared out by Vitality, so they're going to start to send the forces across, and Nemesis are aware of that. They have to hit the site quick, and Dipsy, well, he's taken matters into his own hands. A triple kill on the entry will make this round interesting.
To the historical ways of, just being that ultra-aggressive team, and they don't even allow the smokes to come through. Damp trying to go for some shots. He actually brings the pistol out. Nice little bit of a double 2, so that's the bomb dropped. Salty just hanging by, but look at Damp part. That's always the worst part, right? One of the worst parts. Oh, Muffin. Yeah, that sounds good too when you give your back up like that. And
pretty much see everything. That kill onto Dirty will alert some attentions. Damp and Frapsy, finally some kills here for them.
We're calling for some reinforcements now. They are kind of tripping over each other a little bit though, but he still makes up for it, gets two very nicely. Hunter's coming through a little bit late, should get caught by Kai, so it's exactly what happens. Now Sad and DZY are the final two players remaining, and they're going to drop into Kai's from the heavens into hell. And now the force through from long. Vitality up against it. And that's why he's flanking up from short, coming through that smoke. Will Steak get caught in the open from that? He doesn't somehow. He flips around and takes the kill. Finds Famous too. Oh, a third is unbelievable. Wow. Lots of damage on Pietro. How is he still standing? I'm not quite sure. Pistol now drawn, and Horus is there to help. That is the X factor from Vitality.
Welcome to the first season of CrossFire West League 2026. See this year's start of the Western League as 8 participating teams from all over the CrossFire West region battle it out in March to May in order to claim the throne and compete over a total prize pool of $228,000. For the first season of 2026, get treated to 3 months of high-stakes action, as the season consists of 2 regular season phases and a double elimination playoffs where legends are created. In the regular season, Phase 1, all 8 teams are included in a single group where they all play best of 3 matches in a single round-robin format. Support your favorite teams as every match counts here. Every performance in Phase 1 will determine which 4 teams will be part of the Elite group, where they are guaranteed playoffs, while the other 4 teams in the Contender group will either fight for playoffs or relegation. Expect no resets, as results accumulated in Phase 1 are carried over in the next phase of the competition. In the regular season Phase 2, witness teams from both groups compete in a single round-robin format within their same group. For the elites, this is their chance to secure advancement to the upper bracket round 2 of the playoffs. As for the contenders, be ready to see some of them say their goodbyes. In the playoffs, the 6 remaining teams will brawl in 10 total grueling best-of-5 blood fights in a double elimination bracket. 3 consecutive victories will result in a chance for royalty, while 2 defeats mean the end of a valiant journey. Legacies either move forward or are cut short. Here in the finals, experience a grand bout between a challenger from a victorious path and an adversary that has once tasted setbacks, to determine who will be crowned champion of the CrossFire West League Season 1. Not a memory, a movie. Every round, every map, every series is a mark of a continuous history. This is the road of recovery for the old glory. CrossFire West League, reclaim the throne.
You have a lot of info to work with, but they have got to be careful not to get caught off guard. Here you can see a nice nade kill goes their way, but Hunt on the flank, able to get 2 big kills.
Even though Nemesis are 4-1 up, it feels like a much closer game purely because of these scenarios. Good kill from the back of the site for Sad. Ducking and diving. Now Dipsy in an awkward position. Does find one. Trade isn't quick enough though. Gives Dipsy a chance. He's going to run him down. More than enough time for that defuse. Kiko's in the corner, Lion Claw and Zen have rotated in, Flex and Spoxy are going to be here too. All 10 players are pretty much going to be on this side of the server. Finally the first kill comes through and the bloodbath will begin. Oh my goodness, it's an absolute cluster. It's ended up in a 1v1, would you believe? Spoxy versus Dizzy, and Spoxy will complete. Unless they can't remove Flex, but surely they will. Him being so low. There's an extra kill though. Now Alucard's a little bit nervous knowing that he could catch him, and Flex has caught him.
No trigger discipline here, and Snake and Snare, both the dynamic duo, a walking path through a small tight angle here, takes another one, and a Snake pushing here, pretty aggressive, holding the pistol, not one but 2, 3, 4 players in front of him, taking a pretty massive swing here with a triple kill. Come on, Todson! His teammate just felt that he's jealous. Like, yeah, he is also playing with the sniper, and Snox topping it down, taking 1, 2, make it 3.
Now, maybe only a flash in the pan for Nemesis.
Yeah, right now Nemesis struggling in mid, but maybe not for too much longer. Dipsy, a nice double kill, make it a triple kill.
Someone holds the stairs, and the other guy is just using this.
This is exactly the kind of game and performance I wanted to see.
This is the Hail Mary.
Every individual player is bringing their A game right now.
That's what I'm talking about. I've had enough of being quiet. I want to get things moving.
Madison not able to get
Free! Oh my word, straight out through that smoke, just makes it. Tate has what about Chris here? Yes, Trevor very scared going for that quick.
Welcome back everyone to CFWL, and we are kicking off the finals. Today is the lower bracket final, and tomorrow we have the grand final. And as always, I'm gonna be your host for the show, Sekyu, and by my side, Penguin himself. How are you doing, Penguin?
All good, all good. I'm super excited for the finals that we're going to be seeing today and tomorrow.
Yeah, of course, we had a lot of fun through the course of the entire season, and for those 2 days, special days, at least special week for us, we have some, like, I don't know, like long-standing storylines that needs to be finished. We have teams that proven themselves and players that showed what they're made of. And of course, I would love to recall what happened on the previous week, or like in the playoffs as all. We had first 3BL taking LCK to the lower bracket and having it struggle through the entire course of the entire playoffs, and currently they are in the lower bracket playoffs, lower bracket grand final. And of course, we had Team Vitality that actually lost versus the team that already reached the grand final at this moment. Of course, Team Nemesis, and they're playing versus Team LCK. We had like Team Anubis trying to prove themselves, but they're still a new roster. And for today, we have LCK versus Vitality, the longest rivalry in the modern CFWL history.
Well, you're talking about LCK versus Vitality. You normally watch these two teams playing in the finals, not the lower bracket finals. We usually call it the final of the West League. it is not the case today because Vitality gonna be playing versus LCK, but in the lower bracket final. That means the loser gonna be taking third place, which is not acceptable for both teams. That's what makes this game more interesting, maybe than the next game, because today they are both teams really won the league in the last 2 years. Because we're about LCK, they won in 2024. We're talking about have the season 1 and season 2 2025. The LCK want to get back their revenge and win the title again, also by to revenge the regional finals loss versus LCK rivalry that we are talking about, and that's the game that we would love to watch.
It's been for years between those two teams, and of course to watch them compete in the lower bracket final is something new, at least for us, for the viewers, and I believe for everyone. And of course, seeing Vitality that actually came a long way, like they had their entire first part of the season like with no losses, and the second one the only loss versus Unknights, and in the playoffs they got to, like, I would say the semi-final, or at least a chance to grab and reach to the grand final. But Team Nemesis, playing with the two brothers intact, like brothers, just made the highlights of CFW. That was something to be reminded, like to watch, seeing one of the substitute players that barely, I believe, touches the game or like play and
no, Big Comics played
the
in Cfwl.
scrims.
Yeah,
No,
maybe
like
he didn't play
I
the
mean,
team.
he doesn't play in the
definitely.
scrims itself.
No, definitely. Big Comics is a very good player. He's a sniper player that we usually see him playing as a main sniper, and we've seen him playing with rifle. He flexed everything for his teammates. He played very good. It was his first debut. And usually when you play your first debut, or maybe when you play the first time, you have the kind of and the passion, and you show everything you have, and also your teammates take some confidence. And I'm shocked that Vitality didn't allow maybe the roster changes in the middle of the game, because this will put more pressure onto them when I was as a player. In my opinion, if a team is asking me to get their main player, I would definitely agree, because to discharge the pressure on my team, that's because if we're playing versus sub team, that means that you need to win. Your Vitality versus Nemesis versus substitute players, that's a lot of pressure you cannot handle in the upper bracket final.
Yeah, of course, that was the story in the upper bracket final. And of course we have trivia of the day. The top three playoffs: Nemesis, Vitality, LCK. Oh, actually they were the top three on the group stage. In the first one, Vitality first, Nemesis second, and third was LCK. Oh, okay. Probably, I'm not sure if that's gonna be the case for today, but like we will see what happens. And of course the lower bracket final. But sometimes, like the early season, like the early shenanigans that happens, will show you like some, I would say, early pictures of what will happen in the playoffs. So it's sometimes, give or take, you see those kind of stuff. And for Vitality, they had their first reality check versus Unknights, if you remember, at the phase 2. They lost at the final week, and they were like, that's weird. That normally doesn't happen. So it felt something weird, like in the air, and still you don't see Vitality perform as what we usually see them do.
Well, yeah, that's the start of the tricky point of Vitality, because we usually, when we're talking about Vitality, they are the upper hand coming up to the matchups. They are the team that we bet on them winning. However, on nights in the group stage, yes, it was a careless game for Vitality because it didn't affect their placement at all. But it maybe checked their confidence, because we haven't seen a good performance since then from Vitality. Because after that, they played versus Nemesis, but that they played versus Knights again in the playoffs, and they showed a very tricky performance on both games. By the way, even when they won versus Knights, it was not the convincing win that we expected seeing Vitality doing it. We expected maybe 3-1 in Vitality, and even if it's 3v2, 3-4-2, maybe the two maps that you lost, it's a close one. No, but Knights did a very good matchup, and even the last match was very close. However, it was Mexico, and when you put New Mexico into such matchups, the experienced players and the more synchronized team will be winning. That's what happened when Vitality is usually leaving them to the to the last map. So, my opinion, Nice did a very great run. They were unlucky facing Vitality. It was just like 3BL unlucky facing LCK. But however, that's the case for them. And now we're seeing Nemesis, Vitality, and LCK both fighting for all fighting.
Of course, and speaking of the title and speaking of the points itself, we will see like how can you reach into some international events, and of course we have the EWC, which will take only the top 3 seeds, and of course we have CFS regional finals. You will have the top 4 teams, but at the same time you still have a chance if you're from the 5th place to the 12th place. Of course, some of those games or teams will be from the Open League, will have their regional qualifiers, and the bottom 4 teams will leave the CFOL. So still kinda hard for some of the teams to reach. Of course, CFS still like one of the biggest events that we have for CrossFire, or actually the biggest event for CrossFire, and of course for EWC. The top 3 seeding, and of course that's from Season 1 and Season 2 in total. You will have like those numbers with your calculator, tick, you add the numbers, you see the players, and you catch the names. And for Season 1, currently we have the seeding for the bottom 4 teams, or like the bottom 5 teams of the CFWL. And of course in the Open League we still have the same thing, only top 3 will be collected or seen in the next few days.
Yeah, because usually playoffs day, when it's the playoffs day, you cannot expect who's going to be winning. However, in my opinion, the first place, and this is so crucial because it's 25 points different. Look at the third place and second, only like 15 or 10, I'm sorry. Looking at other matchups, it's kind of from 5 to 10 points. However, from first to second, it's 25 points difference, which is huge when it comes to point calculations and going to CFS. Usually, when I watch the matchup, the final game, it's not only about placement. It's not only about prize pool. It's not only about winning the title. It's about making a statement and putting one leg inside, just going for the CFS and also CFS regional finals, and also the EWC, which is the most prestigious tournament. So now we are having Nemesis already secured this, because Nemesis is in the finals right now, and Vitality, they need to revenge back from LCK. They lost versus them onto the regional finals, and also LCK, of course, they will not accept being third. This was their case. And Season 1 also they took third after losing to Anubis, which showed a very good performance. So LCK usually show a shaky performance on Season 1. However, in this time, this year, they want to go back because they miss going into finals and winning the tournament.
Actually, think about it. If one of those teams, or like, of course, I'm speaking about LCK and Vitality, like the winner and the loser for today, if you lost today and the winner won the entire thing, you will see 40 points in difference between the first place and the third place, and them had the same fate at some point, which is pretty interesting to watch. And that's something most of the fans will be dreaming of. And speaking of dreaming of something, those were some teams' dreams getting shattered in the playoffs. You'll see Anubis losing pretty hard, and the upper bracket, lower bracket, same thing. You have Unknights, they fought for it, but LCK found the best out of them. Nemesis made the upset with the big comics and little comics in the composition, like in the mix, having 2 brothers in one spot, or like in one team, that give them the advantage. And at this point it's between LCK and Vitality, who got one more push in their gas tank.
Yeah, exactly. Vitality today, it's very rough for them, because we never seen this roster going into the low bracket. That's their first time. That's the first time since this roster played together, when from 2024, I believe. Yeah, 2024. We've been through season 1, season 2, 2024, season 1, season 2, 2025. That means 4 seasons. The 5th, they're going into the lower brackets. And who they are facing? They are facing the team that usually faced them into the grand finals, the team that usually showed up when it mattered the most on the grand finals. So now is the fight for the ego. It's the fight for setting the tone. Who's going to be going for the playoffs, for the final, and who's gonna be ending the season with the 3rd place. In my opinion, LCK already have maybe tasted this last year because they took all the 3rd place in season 1 2025. Now Vitality, that's their first time playing in the lower bracket. That's their first time seeing this roster was the last chance. We've never seen it before. Their always last chance was the 2nd place. Now they might be leaving with 3rd.
Yeah, now they might be leaving with 3rd. And for the screen, you'll have the KD ratio, Spoxy. Top 1, you have Slayer. Muffin left long time ago. I mean, like,
Yep.
he played a lot of good games. Like, he showed that he was one of the really good snipers that we have in the league. And most of the players that we have in this list are our sniper players and some other I would say backup players we have here on the list, so you gotta keep an eye of those 2 roles and of course the 10 players that we have on the screen.
Yeah, you mentioned a good point. The snipers usually show off on the rankings. We've seen Spoxy, Muffin, Dirty, Alucard. That's all snipers. Talking about also Faris as a sniper. So it's only maybe very few riflers, but when you talk about rifles, you will see definitely Slayer usually in top 5, if not top 2, if not top 3, because he was also the MVP for the last season. So that's the top tier class that we've seen. But Spoxy, the consistency that he's showing, even though we are talking about LCK not showing the best performance, they had a very tricky moments. We've seen them losing in the first phase, we've seen them losing in the second phase, and we've seen them losing also in the playoffs. So now he needs to show one more time for them to be able to carry them into the finals.
Of course, finality important. And speaking of the final, we have our own final in today's match. Of course, LCK versus Vitality. They are starting the game in a few seconds here, but those veterans, like those teams, they have their own stories, they have their own stuff. And I believe when we speak about LCK, when we speak about Vitality and their long history that got both of them, I would say that some of the names would be saying like, yeah, we go for Vitality for having the upper hand, and some other will go for LCK. And for me, I would say I would love to see 5 games between those two big guys. Like it's something you would love to always watch. It's just like that.
If we go in game 5, what is the pressure? Like, how can we measure the pressure on the players when you are playing map 5? It's only one map, and you're putting everything, all your effort during the preseason, during the season, during phase 1, during phase 2. You're putting it all into the last game. Oh my god, that's a good game to watch. I would love to see this, definitely, yes.
You won't love to play it.
No, I won't love to play, bro. Please, I would love to only watch.
Watching is a lot funnier. Like it's more fun. It's more fun and more competitive. See, like, yeah, guys, they're logged in, yada yada. Like, you wouldn't love to be in their seat. Like, you've been like handful of times in this position, so you know how it tastes. You know that some of the plays might hunt you while sleeping, and yeah, I believe you will remember some of those, like some rounds, and the players already got this on their mind. Like he said, yeah, and the tone it shows how real this thing. And here you can see like the team stats overall, the KDs, and the headshot ratio, yada yada, everything here for the stats, of course, for Team Vitality. And I would love to speak more about like the maps. I believe we know how both teams play. Like sub-base, you gotta take it out for from Vitality, and of course Eagle Eye should be the same thing for Team LCK, since those are the signature maps that we always see them play.
Well, yeah, and I wanted to mention one thing also. It's Horus. Looking at the KDs, I actually, it's first time maybe I'm taking this into consideration, but Horus maybe is not having his best season, and when this occurs, we are seeing Vitality having hard times, right? We've seen Vitality falling shortly, almost fall versus Knights. They actually lose versus Knights in the phase 2, and almost falling into them, going into the playoffs, falling to Nemesis, and now they are playing LCK. So if you need someone to step up today, then definitely that should be Horus. That should be the guy that we always keen on. That should be the guy that we always bet that he's going to be shining, that he's going to be doing a very good job for himself.
Yeah, of course, like he has been in this position for a long time, for a decade, I believe. This player already got into 7 playoffs position. I'm not sure how many times did he play in the final, but here we have a quote coming from Slayer. Our confidence is in each other. We believe each one of us can carry this. Whole team is someday alone. Oh, what? All right.
That's good. That's good. That's good, because we've seen when Snake talked, and I want to be mentioning this as well. When Snake said that talking about the matchup versus Nemesis, and I told him that you're going to be playing Nemesis. You had a very good hard game versus Knights, and you will be going versus Nemesis. And he mentioned that we're seeing that it's a big gap between Vitality and Nemesis, and then Nemesis comes with the substitute players and beat them, and then Dipsy came back and said, hey, there is no big gap, it's all 50-50, we all have our chances. So now we're seeing Slayer giving a different call, that we are confident. They're not talking about their enemy team, they're not talking about the past games, they're not talking about their performance, they're talking about themselves, only themselves. We are confident.
Exactly, and the confidence is pretty important in their position, and I hope that it stays for the most part. Playing versus LCK, they're not an easy opponent to be facing. Flex, Boxy, Kiko, Dezayn, Lineclaw, those players are the best out of the best. Those players been showing the entire world how our region been going bigger and bigger, and names getting and falling, but those guys stayed in the mix. Kiko's still, I would believe that he's the younger guy here, but still, like, those players, I believe that all of them played in the playoffs for 5 times, and they gave the same
They never
energy
missed the
while
playoff.
playing. Yeah, exactly, they never missed the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it's usually LCK versus we're talking about LCK versus Vitality, of course, giving the names of the past teams, because it was LCK, Gaming Gladiators and everything, and also Vitality was 3BL, Rock, but the Vitality, Rock, 3BL, they showed in every final. They were there in every final. Now they're about to get kicked out from the playoffs, and they're about to take the 3rd place, which is, in my opinion, that's going to be first time happening, and it's quite normal. This is not like a failure for the team, because the team showed dominant performance in the past 2 years. Yes, they lost it 2 times only, I believe, or maybe 1 time only. Yeah, it's only 1 time they lost it, 2024 season 2, when LCK did a reverse sweep versus them. Other than that, they won 2024 season 1, 2025 season 1, and season 2. So that's not a failure. LCK, on the other hand, they felt this before. They took the 3rd place in season 1 2025 when they lost versus Anubis, and they got knocked down to the lower bracket, and they took the 3rd place, and they said, yes, it was not a lucky day for us, and Anubis had a very good games. Now they are facing the same consequences. They might be going to the 3rd place, and they might be missing the finals. However, whenever LCK is missing the final, we usually see Nemesis. We 1 time have seen Anubis, but we usually see Nemesis, the team that's scrolling back to the top. And of course, with Spoxy Code, that their team is always consistent. And in my opinion, he's consistent more than his teammate. They trust each other, their communication is improved, and they stay also confident. So that means that confident is the key in such matchups. Confident is the key in making a very good teams. Confidence is the key in making it to the top tier teams and to play in such tournaments.
Playing in such tournaments is pretty hard, and staying consistent in the top is even harder. Like, I remember like an old quote that said like reaching the top is easy, but maintaining and staying in the top level, or like the top notch of the notch, being the top team, is a lot harder than even reaching it, since everyone is trying to get a seed and they're trying to knock you off the crown. And speaking of the crown, the winner of the last split already has fallen off here. I would say,
Yeah.
he didn't fall entirely, but they are in the lower bracket. And speaking of that, we have the whole squad here rocking for a Vitality. It will be so hard if LCK won. And we have the interview with one of the players. And yeah, how did you feel after seeing all the casters, the analysts, and like your former the former GOAT here, Penguin, voting against you, and you're here? It will look so hard for us.
Yeah, it's either we all going together or we're going home together. So I mean, we are voting Vitality because we are not discounting LCK at all. No, it's because Vitality. Every time we've seen Vitality falling, they came back very strong. So that's why I voted for them. LCK, yes, they fall, but I voted for them when they are coming back versus Anubis, and they came back strong. Now they're in the consistency level. Vitality just fall versus Nemesis. Definitely, they will be fixing mistakes. They'll be looking into the matchups, and they've seen LCK playing more than them, because LCK played versus 3BL, going back down to Anubis, 3BL again. Then on Knights, unlike Vitality only played versus on Knights, Nemesis, and now they're playing the third game. So they have watched them full 5 games versus most of the teams. They played 4 maps versus Anubis, 3 maps versus 3BL in the first time, 5 maps versus 3BL, 4 maps versus Knights. That's huge for you to make your analysis and to watch what mistakes they fixed. And you watch the full history as well. You watch the full timeline. You watch them falling versus 3BL 3-0, and they fixed it, played Anubis, they won 3-1. And they played 3BL again. They almost lost to them, but they managed to win 3-2. They fixed it. They went to Knights and they went 3-1. Now it's Vitality's time to adapt versus such adaptations came from LCK in the low bracket finals, because they started from the very first beginning of the low bracket finals after losing to 3BL 3-0.
Yeah, a lot been said and a lot have been done already between those teams. You see the head-to-head, the Zane versus Slayer. See the headshot, KDs, and everything in between. You see their teams. I believe that like those teams are just here to eat each other alive. At this point, no one wants to get the third place. Even the second feels a lot harder, like a lot tighter. But at the same time, falling short and being the third place is not the place for any of those two teams. And with that being said, 10 players in the server, pick and bans are here. The V2 already been picked, and I believe that we're getting Sub-Base and Eagle Eye.
Black Widow banned by Vitality. That's huge. Actually, that's something out of the box, because I expected them probably they're gonna be banning Eagle Eye, but LCK has Eagle Eye lately. Yeah, it wasn't convenient in my opinion. But seeing them going into Eagle Eye, the New Mexico, Vitality picked New Mexico finally for the first time, I guess, or maybe the second time. In the best of 5s, we are not seeing New Mexico as a decider if it is not banned. It's going to be on the third map. That means that 100% we're going to be watching New Mexico. And I like to watch this map. And I'm happy that the CF West League teams are now confident that they are picking New Mexico. Because when you go to the tournaments, when you go to the international tournaments, New Mexico is not banned. That's a map that the enemy teams, they play. So you need to have it on your V2.
Yeah, of course, having it on your V2 is pretty important to practice, to play, to get ready. And speaking of getting ready, I believe that the players are just in time to be ready, in time to kick off the first game, in time to hit to Sub-Base, take some heads and play this game by the way that they love to see and would love to play. Penguin, any last words?
Well, I would love to see first the map comparison, because Sub-Base is heavily sided for Vitality. That's a very tough game, but I said it for 3BL, and I'm saying, and I'll also say it for Vitality, because if you pick your best map on the first one, and you do not perform on the first map, that means that you throwed one map for them. And that's the biggest mistake 3BL did versus LCK. They lost in the V2 because they picked subbase and they always showed us maybe a cheeky performance in the first map, and they lost it. They went versus other maps and they could have won it if they left subbase on the second, third. So Vitality, they could have picked one of their cheeky maps in order for them to warm up, get ready, and then destroy them on their maps, which is subbase, New Mexico, I guess Ankara as well. It's their best maps. Yes, LCK picked it, but it's one of their best maps as well. So picking your best map in the first, it's double-edged weapon. Yes, you can dominate, you can show a dominant performance because LCK's subbase in this season is not convenient for me, is not that much good, also for Eagle Eye, but still, it's double-edged weapon. If you don't show a very strong dominant performance, that means you might be falling shortly. You lost one of your best maps already. You are starting very tough in the best of 5.
Starting very tough, and the best of 5 is pretty important. And starting with subbase, like, I don't know, is it only me or like I don't really like playing my best map at the first one? Like sometimes
Same.
you need sometimes to just like warm up, have I don't know, a different map, but they always go for a subbase even though it's their best map. Like, what do you think about that, Penguin?
Well, as I said, I'm not a fan of picking my best map in the first, especially if I'm playing versus a very strong team. If I'm playing versus maybe a weaker team, I would love to do it because I'll just destroy them, get 1-0, maybe go into their head, maybe they don't have the best mentality. But LCK, Vitality, we're talking about 2 finalists, the 2 most teams that went to the finals. So, no, I don't like playing the first map. And by the way, it's only us, the players. Definitely they have other words. Maybe they see something else. Maybe it's not their best map, or maybe they don't consider it as their best map. I'm talking about the performance that we usually see from Vitality, that nobody is matching them on subbase. So now they need to show this performance versus the shaky LCK on subbase, even though when they played versus 3BL and they won it, it was not the convenient win. They lost it 2 times versus them, and the only one time they won it, it was only 10-8, I believe.
So sometimes the stats don't lie, and when it comes to stats, I would say that Team Vitality are the best in subbase, but we'll see how it goes since subbase is ready, and I believe that our casters are ready, so we'll hit to our casters for today.
Yeah, happy to be here for the lower bracket finals. I'm joined by Paladin as well. Glad to have you here. I believe it's actually our first time on cast together, and what an exciting one to kick it off with. I mean, you've got 2 of the best teams in the league and arguably what should have been the grand final here to jump into.
Yeah, it feels like the El Clasico, essentially, of getting to see these 2 rosters go up against each other. Obviously, Vitality doesn't have the pedigree as far as the organization is concerned, but this roster has done a lot of work within the West League, and I'm excited to see if they can bounce back, because there's a lot of pressure on them at this point. I mean, the expectation was to kind of cruise through. You look at their performances throughout those group stages, and you say, yeah, this is the team that should be dominant. You see their work that they've put in over last year as well. It should be no sweat for them, but they've really had to struggle, and now you start to have some questions of how they're going to feel against LCK today.
Yeah, absolutely a lot of questions needing answered here, but hopefully we'll see who's able to step up to the plate as we hop into our first map. It's going to be subbase to kick it off. We've got LCK on that blacklist side, and of course Vitality on the GR, but Spoxy going to start this one off with a little bit of a bang there. Takes down the other sniper. Snare down and out early. A great way to get the momentum on their side to kick off this first round. And you can already see they're putting that early pressure towards the A bomb site. Vitality, though, playing a bit reserved after losing that opening pick, except for Totson, who just goes swinging on to Flex to settle the score.
I'd love to see that Spoxy starting off on the right foot. Obviously, highest impact player for LCK throughout this league sequence, and hoping to see a little bit more out of him today. But Totson pulling things back makes things a little better. LCK, though, still get that man advantage back the other way. Spoxy continuing to rattle off shots. This blacklist side is kicking together.
Yeah, you can see Slayer here getting a little bit proactive, wants to take this fight on the lobby, gets a brilliant double kill. Dezane with the late trade at least able to shut it down for now, equalizing to the 2-on-2. Now you can see the rotations starting to come to life here, but Totson wants to stop them in their tracks. Dezane going to be spotted out early. Counter flash off the back wall. Now Totson, all he needs to do is stall and stay alive. Gets the first kill onto Kiko, and now with the backstab, they know exactly where Dezane is. He is trapped in the back of the B cage. Now has to try and force his way onto the bomb site, but there's just no safe way out of this one. They group up as well for the 2v1, and Vitality grab the opener.
I mean, it's a great start from LCK to have themselves a little bit of a man advantage, but just not together in terms of the spacing, in terms of crunching in. And that's where you get the prowess of Vitality, where, you know, they spoke about in the pre-show of a lot of players on this team can just step up and win the game on their own, and that builds on the chemistry as well. And Vitality taking control as quickly as possible. Again, another man advantage here for LCK, though. Vitality will have to fight off the back foot, something that they haven't been forced to do throughout this season. But LCK will continue to compound. Another one tacked on here on this BL side.
Yeah, for LCK, this is the name of the game. They're so good at winning these opening aim duels, and I hope they continue forward strong with that throughout this series, because they're going to need that advantage, because post-plants, Vitality, one of the best in the league, and they really need these advantages to go into them with. So for LCK, we'll see if they can hang on in this second round. They've got a much bigger advantage to work with. A little bit of a tough spray there from Lionclaw, but he still manages to get one. The trades are there, though, but LCK, thanks to the backstab from Flex and Kiko on those rotations, secure themselves a first as well, and we're all tied up.
I actually think it's Lionclaw and Kiko here that I'm looking at to kind of raise the floor of this LCK team. If they're able to perform, I think you start to get a little bit more excited, because you're getting that performance out of Spoxy, and he's looking fantastic, but you need that Rifle Core to step up alongside him, and so far so good for them. Starting to see them win those heads-up aim duels. Obviously, have the advantage of playing in that pack style, but obviously nice to see that the mechanics are flourishing here. Vitality on the other end, though, not phased just yet. It still feels a long way before they'll feel uncomfortable on their own map pick.
Yeah, especially on sub base, Vitality super comfortable on the GR. This is a half they should feel is easily in their grasp, but LCK tough to handle on the attack here, but not so much this time around. A nice 3-for-1 exchange nets them a 4-on-2 ensnare. He's not done yet. Gets the second on to Dezane as well from the rafters, and now Flex is left alone. C4 down outside of the lockers. He's going to try and sneak his way into grabbing it, but unfortunately, there's just too many other players with eyes on this location. He's going to have to kind of just snake his way into a couple 1v1s if he wants any fighting chance here, but with a minute on the clock, he at least has that time to play around with.
Yeah, split looked good, but when you got Snare playing in the way that he is, it's always going to be a little difficult. Flex now, again, still trying to encroach upon this C4, but obviously swarmed from nearly every angle. He's going to have to win some tough duels, and he's got to have to piece it together pretty fast as well. It gets tossed in, but yeah, now Flex is spotted. This should just be a formality, and it absolutely will. That's exactly what Vitality is looking for, and it's exactly the start that you're looking for out of Snare. You know, statistically hasn't been the best out of him in this season so far. Obviously, he doesn't have to be, but if he's popping off like this, it's going to get a little frisky here for LCK down the stretch.
Yeah, this time they're going to change it up, though. Going for the fast play towards B. Totson spots them out early. Can't really stay alive from that angle, though. But here comes the push. Dezane able to find one onto Snare as well. But Slayer, he's still alive in the rafters. If he can live a little bit longer, they might have a fighting chance. It's only going to be a one-and-done situation. Now Vitality, all of it is on to Snake in this round, and he's got 1 HP as well. There's pretty much not a whole lot he's going to be able to do here, except stall the clock and kind of think about what they want to do next here. A bit of a sloppy hold, though, I have to say, from Vitality, especially after such a good hold on the B-bomb side in the previous round.
Yeah, a couple of key spots just falling apart there, and you speak about the great work that Vitality can do on their GR side. So far, not as ironclad as we were expecting, and that leads me to believe that LCK are really here to play. I mean, of course, the matchups haven't necessarily gone their way. I mean, the momentum has built up throughout the bracket for sure, but to be able to potentially win this out would be a huge, monumental occasion for them. Vitality, though, still get themselves that opening pick, but of course it will be Spoxy to pull one back the other way.
Yeah, now for LCK, not so much advantage to work with. They still seem to be targeting this A bomb side, though. A lot of early pressure in that direction, though. They do have to deal with 2 players holding it from the top and bottom of site. They've got a vent boost working, though. Flex always likes to lurk in this kind of position. He usually designates himself the player who kind of just likes to roam by himself and try and make the difference. This time, though, Spoxy also going to creep up here towards the A staircase. Horus, though, playing it patiently on the other side, is about to have to deal with 2 players from LCK. Dezane goes for the jump spot, not able to connect those shots, though. Horus good for 1. Really late there as well from LCK, not even trying to trade Horus right away. Instead, Spoxy goes for the late fight, able to win it. Now down to the 3-on-2 Slayer, taking a lot of early damage. The problem here is Flex in this event position is only going to have a chance if there's another player to play off of. But now that he doesn't have that, he has to go for the full rotation. But Slayer had absolutely no idea.
Yeah, that can't be happening. In this situation now, 2-on-2, bomb recovered. There is a route into this A bomb site, and Vitality will play that together as a pack, as a duo, to see if they can win out this post. Try to trade each other out. They've got to get through this staircase safely, and that's easily the most difficult job that they have to do in step 1. They're just going to go as a blind straight through that smoke. Totson's able to find one into the one-on-one. This is the guy that you want in the clutch in Spoxy, but not able to jiggle out successfully. Totson nails the headshot, and the defuse comes in. Vitality continuing to rack up those post-plant wins.
Yeah, really tough one there for LCK. They had the advantage for a moment, but the post-plant fight's just not looking quite so good for them in this sub-base matchup so far. But for LCK, the one advantage they have had is consistently winning in these early aggressive fights, so definitely want to see more of that from them and just that ability to maybe hang on in the late portion of the round. But this time around, Vitality facing a lot of pressure from Flex, but it's just a fake, so Line Clock can get this backstab. Perfect timing from him. Spoxy as well, able to find the double kill to open up the lockers. Now Dezane goes down to the trades, and Slayer, he's the one you've got to look out for. Still able to find 2 before being traded down, and Snake narrows it into a one-on-one. Spoxy very low, but if you've got Spoxy and Flex, you still have a really good chance at the round.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the HP is obviously a question mark there for Spoxy, but with the Almond play, of course, you're still going to give him a little bit of an advantage there. I'm just trying to suss out where Snake has gone off to before they think about playing the Almond. They've got plenty of time to play with. Snake keen on giving it up and playing the post in the 1-on-2. But nothing assured just yet. Flex will now go through with it. Still have a player up in the rafters. Still has a key advantage to spot out Snake. And nails a couple of pistol shots and nails the flick eventually as well. So LCK still pick up a very necessary post plant there. It gets a little worrying in some of those situations when you are a little bit more of an underdog. But those are the rounds that also, pull you together and give you a chance to potentially cause this upset, and that's a beautiful sequence there from Spoxy.
Yeah, Spoxy really being the difference maker so far. 10-3 for him, and we're only 6 rounds on the board, so if he can keep that kind of momentum up, it's going to be the difference maker for LCK. Meanwhile, we've got a couple players who are a little bit, I would say, silent on the side of Vitality. Horus, this is normally one of his best maps. Only 2 for him. Snake as well, struggling a little bit so far in this head-to-head, but Snare as well. Started off strong, but has been shut down by Spoxy now a couple times in a row, so they're going to have to find a way to adapt to Spoxy's early round positioning, but this seems to be where LCK thrives. I mean, you look at the early rounds we've seen already in just these first 7, LCK has won the majority of them pretty handedly. It's these post-plant situations where things get a little bit shaky for them, and if they can clean that up, they could actually be in a much stronger leading position here.
Yeah, it's a bit deceptive. LCK have been setting up a lot of these rounds in the right ways. Some of the executions have not been as effective, but LCK now playing a little bit slower now that they have a main advantage. You saw them being a bit more pacey in some of their phases of the default, but now they're really trying to make these GR players feel a little bit more uncomfortable, chipping them down with grenades. Totson down to about half HP. But now that we're ticking slowly and slowly to that 30-second mark, we've got to start congregating. If you are LCK, they'll move in to potentially split into A, but here's that crossfire that they've got to break up.
Yeah, Slayer right up against it. Gonna go down Lion Claw. Great transfer, though, to take down Horus. And that's gonna open up the A bomb site completely. Now it's gonna force Totson and Snake to be a little bit late on the rotation. But again, the shots are there all day long for LCK in this one. Snake trying to break up the party here on the bottom of site. Just not gonna happen. And LCK are able to swing back and take the lead here. And that's a big round from them. It felt like this is the first time we saw everybody kind of step up across the board to get this one across.
Yeah, I think that's just smart in terms of the adaptation there for LCK, slowing the round down a little bit more and getting all their ducks in a row before they commit, because I felt like a lot of their duels, while are individual and they were winning them out, I just didn't like how they were completing them. And now you're having everybody in the right place at the right time. It's making for these crossfire breakups just a little bit better. Well, again, stick to that slower style here. See what Spoxy can find. He's been very keen on hitting some of these tags, nailing some of these shots. And again, Horus will take some significant damage in the early goings. Vitality not keen on pressing the issue just yet. They're actually giving a lot of space here towards this A side. Giving some space over to LCK. That causes a little bit of concern there for this defense.
Yeah, Vitality definitely a little bit unsure of how to read this one, and rightfully so. LCK just kind of poking and prodding towards the A lobby. But again, they always have Flex on these lurk positions they've got to be ready for. He's just sitting outside of the vents in mid, waiting to play that lurk position when the A push comes to life. But Horus, this is the player we need to see step up. He's struggled quite a bit so far on this A hold. Only going to be good for one. Slayer now has to redeem it here. Good for a first, good for a second. That'll do. And on top of it, you've got Snake finding Lion Claw. Flex alone on the lurk goes down, and Vitality respond nicely.
A little worrying there that Horus only gets one. I don't think he can as an anchor in that kind of position, but there you have a keen response. You know, Horus has been having a slow map, but there have been people to pick it up. Look at this aggression here from Snake. This is more like it from the captain. We're looking for that performance out of him for quite some time, and finally you get it. And now Horus can chime in a little bit on the end. Horus gets that next kill. This Foxy now caught up in a 1-on-3, and Snake will continue his great pistol work. That's a nice little sequence there for Vitality on the tail end, and now as we switch sides, I think they'll be happy with the bounce back for sure.
Yeah, honestly, just a crazy back and forth as well. You think back to the 4-3 LCK lead, it looks like the half should be theirs, and then two lightning quick rounds from Vitality immediately set the tone as we go into the second half. So Vitality, you can never count them out. They know how to bring the aggression at the perfect moments to flip the script, and this is where LCK has to be a bit more adaptable in these mid to late round situations, because that's where Vitality thrives. They like to fight under the pressure, and LCK, they're starting to falter a little bit, especially when you think about there was 1.6 rounds in, Spoxy was 10-3, his momentum starting to go down a little bit here, and this is where we need to see those key players, like you mentioned, the Lion Claws, the Kikos, they've got to step up and find a way to fill that gap.
Absolutely. I mean, there will be slowdowns from your stars at certain points. It can't be just them all the time. But again, Vitality keen on taking a leaf out of LCK's late-stage playbook of being a little bit more map control-oriented. Snare has gotten all the way to the staircase very quickly and without much pushback on the other end. Dezane keen on just jiggling, tossing in utility occasionally, and Vitality on the other end will be very happy to take that kind of space on their own. Move back over to the B site though, and this is where it's going to get a little hot and heavy for LCK to try and push back.
Yeah, a lot of this is going to come down to Kiko and Lion Claw in the initial corner. Horus gets a really good flash to get himself out and across. He knows there's a player behind the corner pocket, and look at this, 2 kills already to open it up. Spoxy has to be the solo player to hang on, but he's just not able to hold his feet to the fire here. And now Vitality, they've got full control over the B-bomb site. Flex trying to fight his way back in, but Totson doing a really good job of just utility stalling and making this rotation near impossible. Dezane going to be finished off, and Vitality continue this momentum into the second half.
And that's the power of a flashbang, right? I mean, that's the MVP of the round for me. You got 3 players all on the site, all getting blinded, nobody playing anti, and because of that, you each have some free kills. Regardless of how awry the mechanics are, the flash takes the cake, and Vitality take a commanding start to their offensive side. And I like this aggression here from Flex to play up close and personal. It catches Snare completely off guard, but there is the trade from the captain, and he'll double down. Snake finds 2, and gets themselves a little bit of a pushback, but there's Spoxy. Needed him to come back online, and he finds an opportune moment.
Yeah, now in the 2-on-2, of course, a lot of pressure on him. He's going to be able to find one. Now it gives them a chance to hold on here, but Spoxy's still trying to rain terror from above. Unfortunate for him, not able to connect on any of these quick scopes, as the bomb should now get planted. It's going to force Kiko to make a play on the rotation here from that potential lurk position, but Slayer, he's doing exactly what he needs to here. He knows Spoxy's going to be playing wide on the top. Not going to risk it too much, but the trade immediately there as Spoxy finds one. Now Kiko, very quiet all map long, needs to find a massive play to keep LCK in this one. He needs to find that moment to get the timing onto Slayer, but Slayer's done exactly what he needs to. Runs down the clock. Kiko spots him out. Slayer just dancing around the missile, tries to play the time perfectly, and he may have already got it here. There's just no time, and Kiko knows he has to force the issue here, but Slayer wins the fight anyway.
Huge work there from Slayer. You know, in that top 3 conversation across the league, and there's the impact that you need out of him. He's getting you the KD, obviously, but it's rounds like that that completely turn the tides of battle, and now all of a sudden the momentum that had been built up from LCK on their offense has been swiftly ripped away from them. Vitality now showcasing why they should be in the upper bracket, why they should be in that grand final. And all of the pressure now put onto Spoxy, put onto your rifle core of LCK, and suddenly the statistics on the other end just don't paint a pretty picture whatsoever here, Kyle.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one, especially now with everybody on Vitality starting to come to life in this second half. But Spoxy, he's been that key anchor. If he can find a way to elevate again, there is still a chance they could bring this one back. Right now, though, Slayer on the TRG answers back. Kiko, good for 1 from above. So LCK still holding on to this advantage, and Kiko, that's a really key frag to take down the entry. It's going to force the rotations now from the remaining players of Vitality. Totson knows he has to push solo and try and make this play, but Snake, he's also snuck into the vents above Dezane as well, so he has a chance to play that timing. The problem here they're going to run into is that C4 is still down and has to be recovered.
It will get scooped up now. Snake finds it. Totson's gotten into this A bomb site, but needed that if he wanted to pull this clutch together. And now Snake and Slayer, these are likely, you know, 2 of the 3 people that you probably want in this kind of clutch situation. They will get the bomb down, but how many players can they shave off before the bomb can go down is the real question. And the answer, 0. It'll allow for LCK to play with 4 global risk players together and get this retake going. This should be that round to be locked in to get that 5th.
Yeah, Snake needs nothing short of a multi-kill here to hold on, but LCK, big chance they line up here for him, actually. Snake, this could be a good moment here. Gets himself a double, and now there's a fighting chance. Slayer, good for 1. The 2v4 down to just 1 player, but thankfully, Dezane able to hang on from sheer disaster, but that was way too close for comfort.
It felt like almost prophetic there, Kyle, when you mentioned they could line up, and it was nearly perfect. The spray looked great, but unfortunately for them, not able to find a couple more bullets to get that 3rd. And LCK saves themselves from a boatload of embarrassment. Here comes that aggression here from Dezane, and that's a nice start to things. It does force Vitality's hand to play a little bit more pacey into this A bomb side, knowing that there's a potential opening here, but Flex still keeps his wits about him, still finds one. A has fallen in the meantime, though. That gives another chance to play out another post here for Vitality.
Ooh, snare as well. Great headshot. Spoxy out of the picture makes this a lot easier. Now LCK might struggle a little bit more on the retake, especially after almost losing a 2v4, a 3v3. You'd have to favor Vitality in this one. Kiko as well, going to be working that utility for the retake. Unfortunately, only has the frag to work with and has to find a way to open it up soon here. Only 20 seconds on the clock to move in, and Snake, he tries to hide in the smoke. It's actually not going to work out. Line Claw now with a chance to open things up here. Toxin 1v3, but LCK, will they struggle at the finish line here? Line Claw spotted as well, gets off the bomb, and oh my goodness, Kiko just barely finds the bomb in time. He didn't realize it was planted on the pillar behind him, but with a second to spare, they'll find it.
Oh, that is not a round if you're Vitality that you want to be dropping the ball in it. It felt like they had everything in the palm of their hand there, but that's the impact that you're kind of hoping to get out of Kiko, which, sure, he's got only 5 kills to his name, but the rounds at the end of the day are what matters. Get that defuse off. Vitality now starting to question the things a little bit more now. Spoxy still peering down, not as aggressive as you'd hope, but still looking for that opener. Vitality not willing to really push the issue after some of the aggression that's come out from LCK previously.
Yeah, definitely a much more reserved round. You can see here Slayer just trying to catch somebody on the jump peak on the other side of the vents, and he might have a chance to find it, but needs to be careful. Slayer, he was the first to go down in the previous round, and not having him alive on those post plants is going to be pretty costly considering how well he's played throughout this map so far. So they're going to keep him a little bit more tucked away in this one. But Vitality, they're not so sure if they want to full commit to the B bomb site here. It seems like it's going to be a late A hit, and this is going to put all of that pressure onto Dezane. He's the only anchor on the A staircase here, and Flex just playing from above.
Yeah, you're going to need a lot out of him, at least 2, to really feel like he's done a good job. Flex actually goes aggressive, and he gets punished, and Dezane finds nothing. That is optimal situation for Vitality, and just the worst for LCK. Spoxy does pull one back, but he goes very quickly down to grenades. Totson chimes in as well, and it's back to winning ways here for Vitality. And I think they found that site that they could potentially punish a little bit more. It's that A side, right? It's just the fact that they're able to get to the staircase pretty much free of charge, that they're able to get some opening picks pretty easily as well. And obviously some of these posts have been pretty favorable for them. Obviously, they're not converting them necessarily, but the fact that they've been getting into those situations leads me to believe that if they focus on a more A-center default, I think they'll be in a much better position here.
Yeah, I think for Vitality, they've figured it out, but I also think LCK, this is the time that's perfect to call a pause and try and recognize that on their end as well, because if they can adjust the way they're holding this A bomb site, maybe go for a 2 lower setup, they might be able to catch Vitality off guard and set up a trap to counteract these late A hits they've been doing, because Vitality, 3 rounds in a row now, have just kind of waltzed into the A bomb site. So for LCK, I think that's the big thing Loons, the coach here, is probably going to be talking through with them, is you could tell just by the way he's talking, he's recognized a way to answer back here. And with how close things have been, I do feel like they still have a fighting chance on this first map. And considering historically, this was a map that, Vitality comes in with a 73% win rate across both sides of the map on, they're definitely not showing that level so far.
Yeah, you're getting a B level out of them, but it still seems to be doing the job when you talk about the chemistry that they're putting together in some of these post-plant situations. But for LCK, I think you're exactly right. As if you can get that second rotation earlier or even later on that A bomb site, things get a lot easier to hold down. It does feel like Dezane's having a bit more of a difficult time. I think you have to shore up those defenses there. But of course, the conditioning on the B side also still has to be there as well. I mean, a key way that they could do that is with some more B aggression that they can lean on, force the B defaulters to be a little bit more slower in their process. And they have thrown in a little bit of that, but it's got to be a little bit more consistent so that they can rely on a second rotation. Now the question is how do LCK decide to go through with this? Do they pull all the way back off of B, or do they show that little bit more forward-facing presence to make the A defense feel a little bit more comfortable?
Yeah, I feel like for LCK, we might even see some aggression coming out in this next round. Maybe even aggressive push-up of a lobby to catch them off guard, because Vitality, we saw it a couple times where Dezane just went swinging earlier and they weren't really prepared for anyone to be doing that against them. So I feel like Vitality, you have to meet them at that equal confidence level to really hold your own against them. If you play a little bit too safe, LCK is one of those teams where they need to be going for picks. That's where they shine. The post plants where the numbers are even, they don't look so favorable a lot of the time. So I would say for them, getting that early advantage is the name of the game and then just hanging on to it. But for Vitality, they also have this pause time to work with. So I am curious if they're going to come back in with the same strategy of just playing safe picks and then going for the late A, because I'm assuming they're going to recognize that there is going to be a change coming in from LCK regardless of what they want to do.
Looks like at this point for the Vitality side, how do you mix things up? How do you make things a little bit more uncomfortable for LCK? Because it seems very obvious to both teams that we found a site that works, but how can you end there on a regular basis is the question for Vitality, because if the response is there from LCK, do you feed in a little bit more presence on the B bomb side to suggest that commitment, or maybe you could just speed things up outright and just commit to A a little bit quicker, because a lot of these times they are ending on A late. So there are a lot of options here for Vitality, and that's the great part about finding a site that works is you can play around with pushing the defense in uncomfortable situations very easily, and it's really on Snake to piece that one together. And I feel like he's had a good finger to the pulse here. Some of these rounds haven't been converted necessarily, but it feels like they've got a nice finger on the pulse as to how they want to manipulate the rotations moving forward. And I think that, of course, you got to favor them here to close things out. It's just a matter of how, essentially.
Yeah, I feel like Penguin said it best on the desk earlier. I mean, this is their best map and they're leading the series with it. If Vitality doesn't win this, it starts to look scary for the entire rest of the series for them. So the fact that it's already been fairly close for most of this first map leads me to believe that they've already made a few missteps throughout this process, but you can tell the confidence still seems pretty high as we look to go back in here with them potentially able to close this one out. So it is going to be us rejoining with an 8-6 scoreline. Vitality just needing a couple here to seal the deal on the first map in this best of 5 lower bracket final, but we'll see how things change as we get back into it. The first change we're going to see, though, so far is actually going to be the early pressure towards Vents. Flex, though, still playing alone in this lobby position, so nothing extra in terms of the A support here, just a little bit more proactive info finding here from LCK, and it might actually work out. Flex able to find one on the snare. Huge way to get it started, but immediately the answer is there from Slayer and Snake.
An even bigger kill for Vitality there with Soxy going down. Things change up a little bit now. Get to put a little bit more pressure here on the A defenders, and again, Vitality have their eyes set. They want to split in as they've pushed Flex into an uncomfortable position up in lobby. And here comes the flash. Dezane gets pushed off the angle. He's cornered. Has to fight tooth and nail, but can only find one. That does feel nice if you're LCK to at least pull one back. But now with this bomb going down, things get a little bit more uncomfortable. You still have Totson in the vents here.
Yeah, such a good position. Not only that, just the patience here from him as well. Not poking his head out too early and really just running down the clock, making sure he plays in a spot where they cannot visually see him unless they go for a full boost clear, but they're going to go for the full check on it, Flex. The intuition perfectly matched there, but unfortunately, it may not be enough just yet. It's going to come down to Snake in the 1v2, but thankfully for LCK, it's going to be enough to clear things out. Lionclaw and Kiko able to step up and win this one.
I really gotta wonder how they figured that out, or just doing their due diligence there from LCK. It essentially nets them around. They're banking on the site players taking a little bit more space and presence, but the backstab doesn't come in swift enough. They find him, they boost to clear him out, and that unravels things. Vitality with another feels like misstep in some of these sequences where they're favored. They put themselves in positions where they should get the job done, but haven't been able to necessarily do that to actually get the 9th on the board. This A defense is holding up, Kyle, somehow.
Yeah, it's definitely been improved here from LCK. A lot of it just coming down to a little bit cleaner execution on that retake, but also just the re-clear potential from Flex. He seems to know exactly what Vitality's up to at every moment here, and it's going to make it hard for Vitality to feel like they can do something unpredictable, and Spoxy makes it even harder. Snare, I feel like he has been struggling all map long against Spoxy on these A duels.
Meanwhile, Snake and Totson will look towards A again, that old faithful. But this time you are getting that extra rotation. Flex will come back down into the side, into lower. And does put a little bit more pressure onto Vitality to find this opening kill straight away. But Dezane's playing this well, stalling things out very well. And now Slayer, it's his time to shine. Maybe look for a pick back on B to cause the rotation to move over. And Vitality are a little indecisive now. They're hoping that something gets offered up to them so they can make a decision. But 45 seconds left on the clock. They've got to start making some concrete decisions now.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to go for a little bit of a fake and then split on to B. Lionclaw starts to think something's up, and unfortunately a little bit late to that one. Gets caught out by Snake, and now it gives them full control to go for this split push onto B. Foxy is going to be forced to rotate, and Kiko over peaks as well on the L turn, and now this should be an easy one for Vitality to swoop in and answer back on Flex. No way he's going to get through that smoke safely, and now Dezane 1 versus 4. What started off as a nice advantage for LCK has quickly turned to disaster, and Dezane, he is just stuck off of that flash. Surprisingly, Totson goes for that solo peek. A little bit risky there, but it's still a 3-on-1.
Should be locked in here with Vitality. Surely they don't drop this one, and they don't. Slayer finds it. Dezane goes down, and Vitality kind of forcing LCK there to blink first, and they do. They're hoping that some sort of indecision comes through, that they think that maybe the split coming into A doesn't happen, but we're right back into the thick of things. Totson wants to start the affairs in the middle of the map. Dezane does find stuff back, but this defense is holding as strongly as possible. But A has fallen in the meantime. There is space to be taken. Lionclaw now having to be called to action. But Snare's doing all the work here with the pistol. And that puts Kiko into a very, very difficult situation.
Yeah, Kiko needing a little bit of a miracle here. He has no utility as well to work with on this retake, which makes it that much harder. Dueling from the top is almost ensuring his fate at that point, so he's going to go for the top of stairs instead. The problem is this smoke, pushing through it, just going to be too difficult. Snake catches it, and that's going to be Vitality showing up in the last 2 rounds, and more importantly, securing themselves a 1-0 lead in this series. A little bit shaky on their own map choice, but ultimately, when push comes to shove, Vitality doing what they do best here.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to say that they had the most extraordinary game of sub-base, but at the end of the day, it was very clear to me that they found the adaptations to make that set work, right? Is the splits on A weren't necessarily working. They had a little bit of a feign over to B, and then once that split works together, you could start to see the class and strategy levels between LCK and Vitality, and LCK just didn't have the individual firepower to brute force their way back in, and they didn't have the strategy in terms of the depth to pull things back either. So I still like Vitality in this series, but you're starting to see at least a little bit of flair out of players like Spoxy in moments, and we're going to need a little bit more consistency from them.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one, but we'll go ahead and toss it to our desk here to break this one down and get their thoughts after map 1, and we'll see you soon for map 2.
Thank you, Carl and Baladin, for this game, and of course, the first half was pretty close. I believe like it went like 5-4 for Vitality, but after that, like Vitality just kept getting some rounds, and LCK are trying to fight. It felt super close most of the game, Penguin.
Well, if you're talking about the first half, then let me tell you that LCK, they struggled in this map because of their first half, losing Blacklist side in sub-base 5-4 in favor of Vitality, who is one of the best teams that's playing sub-base, especially on the Blacklist side. That means that you're going into
suicidal.
That's a very good. That's a very hard, good for Vitality and very hard or tough situation for LCK. Also, I want to mention that LCK, they played very good in the first, very early rounds. Like, they were going round by round. Vitality won the first round, LCK wins the second round, then winning round, and then suddenly we've seen LCK winning 2 rounds in a row when they played very fast and they played with the flanks or from flex when he gone to Vent, when he's gone to Woods, when they played aggressive on Woods. And then instantly, without a tactical pause count out from Vitality, the adaptations came, and from 4 to 3, they flip it to 5 to 4, and that's like 60 or 70% of the map already for Team Vitality. When they switched, they played very good. That tactical pause from LCK is kind of a bit delayed. I usually say this because they take the tactical pause when it's already 8. So yeah, whatever you're gonna do, it's either win or lose. But if you lose, it's 9 to whatever rounds you have. That means that your match point of losing, and that's what happened to LCK. But in favor of Vitality, they played very good. They didn't need such tactical pause. The adaptations were perfect coming out from the Global side, and when it went to the Black side, we all know how Vitality plays. They play very aggressive on Woods. They play very maybe team work wise more on Woods. They deny the space that Flex usually done. Flex actually, he took Woods 1 or 2 times, but they punished him instantly and they tried to play on it down. And Slayer clutches is just insane. This guy just when it comes to clutches, you can never beat this guy.
Of course, and the clutch department, you know that you're done for this department, and of course you know how it goes on this part. And of course, when it comes to a team like Vitality having the early good rounds, I would say, if I am an LCK fan or like an LCK, I'm in their shoes, I would believe that I will try to get an early pause in the first half to trying to figure out how should be done versus those guys.
Yeah, because I was thinking also, if I'm playing versus Vitality and I'm LCK, I'm going already 1 round behind on the Global side. Switching to Vitality's left side, that's a nightmare if you look at that. However, it's not the end of the world. Also, we've seen LCK, they are dropping a lot of rounds in the clutch situations that they needed the most, because they didn't have the variety. This is one of the clutches that I'm talking about. It's the most important clutch in my opinion in the game, because 6-4, 6-5, you're very close, you're only 1 round behind, you still have chances, but Slayer is just insane. And also everything was for Kiko. The HP, the positioning advantage, the time, and then Slayer played it perfectly, repositioned very good, and he instantly got the kill on Kiku. So LCK, despite their weak sub-base that we mentioned usually, we are still seeing a very good performance come out from them. The guys adapted, the guys played good, they have some confidence, they play aggressive, and by the way, they play fast as well, so we usually missed this playstyle from LCK, the fast gameplay that's coming out from them, but in the end Vitality win, and Slayer definitely with the 1.75 KD, and also not only this, the clutches that he did for his teammate is perfectly good.
Yeah, of course, for the clutches, for the players, when it comes to the 1v1s, 1v2s, like who got the advantage over it, and who got the guts to try and peek and play aggressive, it went to Vitality at some point. But on the other side, Spoxy, like I remember at some point he had, I don't know, 14 kills, like 14-7 or 14-5. He had a lot of kills for a sniper, and he played as a flex. At some points he went for AR, and of course like it was mid round, so that doesn't count as a flex. But like the point is he been trying to carry things off lately for LCK. Him and Design doing like God's work, but it's still hard to find the closer for LCK, at least for the game number 1. And for me, watching them play, I believe Eagle Eye will be the second map. Eagle Eye for LCK been pretty hard for them. Like it's hard for them to win recently in most of the games or in the playoffs. It was just hard. Like they didn't win. I believe they won only 1 or 2 games out of all they had in this map.
Well, yeah, that's the point that we wanted to mention as well. Yeah, we've seen good performance coming out from Vitality, but that's the map, their own map pick. So it's 10-7. It's not the convenient win, but you're talking about lower bracket finals. You cannot expect 10-2 to 10-1. That's not the case. You're talking about LCK versus Vitality, a 2 finalists team that we usually see in the upper bracket finals, or maybe one of them is the winner. And last time it was the regional final winners LCK. It was the season 2 winners Vitality. So you cannot expect them going 10-2, 10-4, or even 10-5 on their own map pick. But looking at Eagle Eye, that's what's making me worried about LCK, because we've seen LCK picking Eagle Eye multiple times versus 3BL and they lose it, versus Anubis and they lose it. It was the only map that they lost it versus Anubis, by the way. So it was not the best Eagle Eye map for them. But if you compare it to Subbase, that's way better, because Subbase, LCK Subbase used to be the best in the region, by the way. Now it's not the case, because that's life. Not everything gonna be the same or consistent for a long time. But now Eagle Eye as well is not the best for LCK. However, it's, in my opinion, it's way better when it comes to M duels, when it comes to strat-wise, when it comes to taking Spoxy into an advantage, because you need this guy to clutch for you and you need this guy to show up. So Spoxy Zane, they love this map and they know how to play it. Flex as well, with his flexing the sniper, getting the second TRG, makes a very, very big pressure on Vitality. Definitely Slayer gonna be doing the same as well, and of course Vitality knows how to deal versus this, but I guess we should see a better performance coming out from LCK. Otherwise, I'm afraid that LCK might be facing 3-0, because New Mexico, Vitality are good, LCK are good as well, but with the pressure of the last map, I don't know if LCK will be doing a reverse sweep again or not.
Of course, it will be pretty hard to try and calculate and see how things will go, but here in Eagle Eye, you'll see that the win rate for, like, the game played for LCK, they played the map 9 times, and they won 49%, like, I don't know how. Oh, that's the BL and the GR side, of course.
Yeah.
Like, I thought like that's the total win and lose ratio, since like Vitality they only played one game, so they won 56%, so like they lost the remaining parts of the game. It would be pretty inconvenient, but like, of course, you see the numbers, and it's so obvious that GR for Vitality is a bit good when it comes to, of course, Eagle Eye. But the question for me is, does Vitality have their snipers ready? Like, we have seen some triple sniper setups. Will they go for this in Eagle Eye?
No, I don't think they'll be going for a triple sniper, because it's only Slayer and Snare who can be capable of. Yes, Todzin sometimes he flexes the sniper, but Snake and Horus never touch the sniper. So it's just a matter of Slayer. If you're gonna be asking, will Slayer be hitting his shots? Will Slayer be having his best days? Yes, the answer was on Subbase. He was doing very good job. He was clutching, doing everything, flexing, whatever you want from him. So yes, the sniper on Slayer will be deadly. Snare is in his form. Spoxy is doing the best. He was 1.36 KD in one of the maps that they lost it. So we are gonna be seeing a top tier fight between the snipers, between Snare, between Snake, between Snare, between Spoxy, between Slayer, between Flex, because both of them are gonna be matching. Slayer will usually try to hunt for the snipers, and also Snare will hunt Flex 100% on the B side, because Spoxy on the side is kind of hard for him to be executing versus him, although Vitality is one of the best teams that executes when it comes to execution.
Oh, I remembered something that we had, like, an interview back in the days of, like, in phase 1 with Flex. We had this talk over Spoxy that he's the guy who's always holding the A side, and he's been doing it pretty well, and the answer was like, it's always lovely, and like he loved having like his teammates to count on, and of course they all trust in him. And speaking of trust, and speaking of this game, I believe that the players are ready, our casters are ready, so Kyle and Baladin, take it over.
Well, alright, it's a 1-0 lead here for Vitality, but now it's up to LCK to do it on their own pick. Eagle Eye historically has been a high pick rate for them. We see 9 times it was played this season, but honestly, I agree with the desk. It hasn't looked the best for them in recent history, so I do worry about their life in this series if it starts to look like a struggle on this map, especially considering Mexico as a map 3 is such a wild card for both of these teams. It's a bit unpredictable, but if you go in with a 2-0, you'd have to think Vitality could probably close it there. But like they were mentioning as well, a lot of it comes down to the snipers on this map. You often see both teams running that double sniper set up on both ends of the map, and that's where I'm curious to see if someone can step up along Spoxy's side here, because map 1 didn't really show too many high moments from the rest of the roster.
Yeah, there's not really a player that I would look at on LCK to step up in that fashion. When I look at Vitality, I can find answers. I mean, of course you've got Snare doing a lot of great work, but Slayer has donned the sniper a couple of times himself, and then did it to enough of an effect that it can be pretty beneficial on a map like Eagle Eye. So I feel like Vitality should still feel comfortable. I do think that the number of times this map has been played for them is a little worrying. So we'll see if, you know, the lack of reps comes into play. But I think for Vitality, if they can get off to this 2-0 start, they'll be feeling mighty fine for the rest of this series.
So far, it does seem to be a bit of a slower play style from Vitality, not really going for anything too aggressive just yet. Meanwhile, you've got the TRGs getting proactive here from Flex and Spoxy, trying to find that opening pick. You can see Flex there going for the jump spot into the bottom of mid. Not going to find anything really from that info just yet. Vitality just waiting to try and get the information of how these guys are going to be playing. And I actually respect the strat here as Vitality, like we said, they've only played it once on the season. These first couple of rounds are really just gathering information for them to see how they want to play this map against LCK. But for Flex, he's the proactive player on this team. He likes to get aggressive to find that info. He's going to go for an early push, not to find anything of it just yet. But Vitality, they might be going back to their old strat on this map. When they used to first play it, they'd run it to about 30 seconds before they even pushed here. And it seems like that might be the case.
A lot of posturing here, but Horus gets gifted a freebie. This time, it'd be nice to have that 5-on-4. But look at the aggression here from both the Zane and Lion Claw. They get a couple of kills back, do a little bit more in terms of damage over to Slayer. But still continuing to slow down in the 3-on-3. With 40 seconds left on the clock, moving all the way back to spawn, really. But you're really relying on Snake here to potentially open things up, potentially cause a split moving forward. They have that mid control. They're eyeing towards A. Oh, what a beautiful little sequence and vault up there from Slayer. And they've spotted out Dezane in this deeper angle, and Snake's nailed a headshot as well. Puts it all up on the Flex, this secondary sniper trying to do all the work on his own. It does stop the bomb plant just temporarily. Finally, it does hit the dirt. Flex now has been spotted out and has to still figure this one out. Nails another tag there in that kind of sequence, but the nade is beautiful there from Totson. And Vitality will get started off on the right foot.
Yeah, honestly, just great decision-making there as a team from Vitality. The choice to make sure Slayer had the TRG in hand when his HP got low, and then he nails that amazing shot from the boost peak on A-Long. Really like the way these guys are playing as a team right now, and it's just those little things that are making the world of difference here so far for Vitality in this series. But for LCK, see what they can do to maybe redeem themselves in round number 2 here. This time, they're going to be playing a little bit more reserved than what we saw previously. The only forward presence they're really going to have is Lion Claw playing forward in the B Hotel. Everybody else just kind of taking their time, waiting to see if Vitality puts a little bit of pressure on themselves. And I do like this play call if Vitality is going to run the strat of just hanging out and spawn until around the 30 or 40 second mark, because if they do that a little bit too often, they almost might run the clock in a way where they can't full clear.
Yeah, they did have that luxury of punishing a bit more aggression from that B Hotel from LCK, and they didn't have that opportunity. It'd be a lot more difficult to pull off some of these 3-on-3s, or honestly 4-on-4s as well. Vitality still sticking to their guns in that sense, hoping to see if they can punish a bit more aggression. Still got that mid control, which they'll be happy with in case they want to split in, but. Just a lot of humming and hawing here for Vitality. Nothing set in stone just yet. Lion Claw does show face though, and there's that opportunity that they wanted. Vitality get themselves the opening pick and now bear down on potentially a B bomb site take.
Horus, though, the sneak attack, good for one. He knows Flex is there as well. Horus steps up for the double. Spoxy rotates at the right time, but it might be too late to win this one either way. LCK now relying on just Kiko alone in this 1v4 situation, and Horus is looking for potentially a third here. Can't find the connection just yet, but he does a little bit of chip damage, and the round going to be taken into the hands of Snare. But Vitality, you got to hand it to them. The positioning game, just catching LCK over-aggressive time and time again, is going to start to punish pretty frequently here.
Yeah, at a certain point, if you're LCK, you've got to call the bluff. You've got to see if you can hold on to bomb sites as passively as possible. Maybe hold on to utility a bit later as well. But Vitality, I mean, they're not going to change that style up until they've been given a reason to, where they do run out the clock and potentially the site hit is not as effective. But No real change up here from LCK. You still got Line Club getting a bit more aggressive over on the B side of things, and a little bit more pressure here on the A side as well. A chance for Slayer to potentially punish in case LCK decide to overstep the mark.
Yeah, for Kiko here, he's got to be careful not to overextend too much. Slayer, he's just using Horus for this little bait and switch angle they're playing, but LCK, if they go beyond where they're at, it's going to be a little bit of a disaster here. Spoxy has the support from upper if they don't move too much further, but for LCK, you can tell part of their play style is playing proactively to get information, and it's so hard for them now to not take that early risk, but it's been punished every single time, so if they can just be patient, they might be able to hang on here.
They will pull back this time around after they've spotted out, or at least heard Slayer's bullets. And that does cause some concern here for Vitality. They don't have that freebie this time around. But they have pushed all these players back into A. So if they want to commit, there is an opportunity to be had. Not enough presence shown from Vitality here over on B. And that'll be Snake's job to start going patrolling. But here's Flex. Hasn't been called upon just yet, but he's got to nail this shot. Doesn't connect though, and that means there is a route open to this B bomb site. 25 seconds left on the clock though. Oh, what a shot there from Snare. Flick is beautiful. And that should be the B bomb site closed down for business in terms of LCK bouncing back. And it just feels like these opening advantages, once they find that opening, they're just kind of swarming through. The decisiveness is there, and the site hits just look beautiful.
Yeah, unfortunately for LCK, they're just not connecting the way they need to, especially, I feel really bad for what we've seen from Lineclaw the last two rounds. The round before, he gets caught on the B bridge as the first pick, and then this round just misses the headshot, gets flicked into oblivion by a Snare, and those are the type of fights where you've got to be finding a way to win because they're so pivotal to getting that momentum on your side. And for Vitality, you look at the scores across the board, this is the scary Vitality. Everybody is positive, everybody's contributing, and the people we criticize the most, Horus is a great example. He's leading the charge here as well for Vitality on this map, and that's when they start to look very scary to go up against.
Yeah, a team with no real weaknesses. That's the big worry here for LCK. And when it comes to situations like this, you need a big individual hero to step up. And unfortunately, there hasn't been that player so far. Nice little double nade setup there to chunk Kiko significantly down. But you're hoping for a player like Spoxy to rise to the occasion. Has been largely silent before that huge spurt that he had on map number 1. And without that kind of individual prowess, LCK look lost. They seem to be floundering in some of these mid-round to late-round situations. Everyone's trying to be a hero to pick up the pieces, but no one is able to actually put on that cape.
Yeah, it's a really smart decision here, honestly, because it adds that extra layer of pressure on the Spoxy. You think back to sub-base, Snare was dying, peeking him alone 1v1 every round. Now they're forcing the advantage somewhere else and forcing Spoxy to play double coverage, and that's the best way to put a sniper out of position. This time, Lineclaw, again, he's not able to hold on to this B hotel position by himself. He's going to go down pretty easily to Snake and Totson on the push, and now it's going to be all about the rotations here from LCK. 30 seconds on the clock isn't even going to phase them at this point because they've already got Horus positioned on the backstab, and LCK, it's been their bane all match long here, not watching for these flanks because Horus knows all he has to do is wait for the bomb plant to go down, and look at his position now. Nobody going to be looking at him. He gets himself a clean lineup for 2, and now they can just collapse in LCK. Sheer disaster on this retake. Not able to grab a single frag, maybe one on the way down, but it's not going to matter too much because Vitality yet to lose a round.
I mean, that's just a well-oiled machine there from Vitality. The backstab, as you mentioned, from Horus is timed to perfection. You've got players playing up close and personal to the utility that's being tossed in to stall out this defense, and LCK just cannot seem to catch a break. They've just been met with a fearless Vitality, one that just cannot seem to make a wrong decision so far. Lineclaw now pushed back into the recesses of Hotel, trying to hold on for as long as possible, and he will. Snake will fall away as well, but all that forward pressure on the B bomb site causes at least that second rotation to come in, and maybe that leaves this A side a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah, they can sense there's an opening here. Kiko as well, kind of tucked away, hoping for Spoxy to find the opening entry. But Spoxy, he's going to run into trouble. Slayer takes him down right away. Thankfully, Dezane on the rotation, able to have one go his way. But Kiko only going to hold on for just a moment longer. Now Flex knows he needs to find a way back into this site early on. But Totson holding the line nicely with Horus. They're going to find one apiece. And Dezane is now left alone. 1 versus 3. Again, things falling apart for them. But Dezane trying to take matters into his own hands, at least able to find the first of 3 on this retake. Now Horus going to be playing a little bit of a safe position here, but Totson, again, the lurk spell disaster, and I don't know if Dezane's going to be ready for this one.
Seems like he spotted maybe a bit of Horus there. Horus can change up his position so quickly. He's already maneuvered to the back of the bomb site. Dezane is considering, and he does spot him out. Still an opportunity here, jumps over, and that's where Totson can capitalize. It's 5 now for Vitality, and it just feels like that was one of those key opportunities to maybe turn the tides of battle for Dezane and for LCK, you know, get that big individual play to kind of kickstart things. But they go to Spoxy's site. I mean, he's been avoided for quite a number of moments in this second map, but now that he's had the opportunity to potentially step up, he isn't able to figure it out. And of course, he was always going to have a difficult job to piece things together there, but still, that's kind of those are the kinds of win conditions that you want if you're LCK in that situation. Even that doesn't go in your favor.
Yeah, you can tell Lineclaw very vocal here during the pause. He definitely has picked up on something that they can do to improve. But honestly, one of the big slips I think here in this half has been his position on that B hotel as well. You think about where he's valuable as a player. He's one of their best anchors, but he's the one trying to be proactive on B. If I'm LCK during the pause, I'm putting Dezane in that role. We even saw it in that attempt at the clutch there. When he's allowed to be aggressive and proactive, he's actually one of their best players in doing so. So I'm surprised that they have Dezane playing the mid-safe anchor spot and Lineclaw being the forward aggressor, because in my mind, it's kind of the opposite we should be seeing from this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've been called a couple of times throughout the series to say, okay, can we pause and play out late round situations purely off of intuition? And the answer has been a resounding no. I mean, towards the tail end of sub base, when they were called upon to shore up the B defenses, to see if they can figure out if a split was coming, they weren't able to rise to that occasion, and they fell apart towards the tail end. And now the same goes for Eagle Eye, where it doesn't feel like they're able to put things together when they're required to play as passively as possible. And in some situations, they are getting into the right place at the right time, but the individuals just aren't connecting. They aren't able to find the necessary kills to make it a reasonable retake. These retakes are so lopsided. No anchors able to find any sort of kills back. And with that, LCK really struggling to find something. I mean, they'll bring the double sniper setup out again, but you'd hope that timeout could potentially change some of the philosophies here moving forward for this defense.
Yeah, either way at 5-0, it's going to be a tough one as we jump back into it. I will say Vitality deserves a lot of credit, though, just for your utility usage on the day so far. You look back to some of the rounds they've won, Kiko getting naded out of position, Lineclaw getting naded out of position. I feel like a lot of teams truly underestimate the value of utility on a map that's so small like this, and Vitality is always taking full advantage of that. Would love to see a little bit more utility strength from LCK as well, because I feel like oftentimes they're even starting a battle without having any good leg up, but Vitality has already found 80-90 HP off of one of the 5 players just by going for a nice early stack.
Got up here for Slayer, and again they'll throw these A nades that have been getting them a lot of space over on this side of the map. Horus will be able to encroach. They've shown this a couple of times and they haven't actually gone off of it. This will be the same kind of situation. And this time LCK don't bite. They don't send that third player over. Instead, they'll stay strong over here on B to set up this crossfire. And this time they've read it very well. This is one of those rounds where they've got to start converting things just a bit more. They still go 1 for 1. And Vitality still have an opportunity to encroach upon this B bomb. They don't have to commit though. So they have pulled back. They still have Horus lurking here on A to potentially pull one more back and maybe move the rotation back over to A. But it's got to be up to him. And Spoxy just gets completely blindsided. Sure, Dezane is there for the trade, but now the jig is up.
Ooh, nice rotation, though. He's going to be Flex who finds one, but unfortunately, he's going to be caught out. Slayer does not lose those in the 1v1. Now Kiko is just going to be tucked away under the stairs. No way out of that alive, and Vitality continue forward uncontested on this, which, funny enough, was LCK's map choice, but it sure does not feel like it at this point.
Yeah, you could say that again. I mean, I was worried about the lack of reps for Vitality, rather, and they've been proving me wrong every step of the way. So now, everything and the kitchen sink being thrown at this offense. Just all-out aggression here. Snake and Horus chime in, but there's Kiko and Dezane to do the job, and that's what they needed. They needed something in terms of an X factor to change things up, and Totson, he's been pretty solid in this map so far, but this one might be a bridge too far. He does have the bomb on his back, which makes things a little easier, and that nade is nice. But first he's got to get the bomb down. He's got to potentially shave. I mean, he does have the red carpet rolled out on this B bomb site. But to shave off a player and make this a little bit more manageable, that's the question, and something a little bit more difficult to piece together.
Yeah, for LCK, they've got to play this as a unit here. Perfectly done there. And they'll finally be able to put a stop to the madness. But again, it's a 1-6 scoreline on a map where you should be getting at least 4, if not 5 rounds on the GR side. And for LCK, this is a bit of a miss already in the first half. They've got to find everything they can that's left in the tank here for these last couple of rounds. If you've got an 8-1 half on your hands, Vitality, a team that doesn't really struggle to close on the GR. It's usually where they're stronger, so they're already in a really good position. But for LCK, I want to see them play a little bit more as a team on these early round aggressive plays. We've seen so often you have either a Lion Claw falling early or someone overextending on the A-bomb side, and those are the plays you really have to reel it in here and change things up, because as much as they took that tack pause, it feels like LCK hasn't really fundamentally changed what they're doing here.
Oh. Yeah, you could say that again, and that doesn't make things any easier. This time, Snare on the winning side of the sniper duel. Another opening advantage here for Vitality. We've seen what they've been able to do with that advantage. Horus finds another to compound the pain, and Snare gets so much space over here to A. Love the little jiggle there. Finds another anchor. Bomb should be able to go down pretty comfortably here on A. And LCK with another very difficult post plant to piece together.
Yeah, Dezane, he needs to find something big on this position. The problem is he's already got 2 players holding on to it. They know LCK loves to retake from the GR spawn. So now Lion Claw has to try and really rush to win this 1v1 over towards Snake. He's going to spot him early. Unfortunately, Dezane's already down and out, and this 1v4 becomes pretty much an impossible task here. So Lion Claw able to find himself 10 seconds, nothing he can really do here, and it will be Vitality getting themselves a 7-1 lead on this one, potentially an 8-1 half on the table here. And LCK, I hate to say it, but it feels like this could be the beginning of the end if they can't find this final round.
Well, they're gonna go to what worked, and that is just the aggression over here in middle. Now Snake does pull one back, and with that aggression being noted, Vitality can pull away. I mean, they've gotten one back, but maybe they could have slowed things down again, but speed things up instead. Flex has an opportunity to couple. There should be at least something to salvage at the tail end here. It's not optimal, but it's something at the very least.
A bit dicey, though. Snake looking to maybe still get that 8th round after all. The C4, however, going to be down outside of the B bridge, and that's where this one becomes an almost unwinnable situation for Snake. He's really going to have to find a way to catch these players off guard. He's got no utility left to work with either, and LCK knows it's just a matter of moments before they grab this one. maybe just a consolation round here as it's a 2-7.5, but a much needed one if they're thinking about trying to pull this one back in the second half. But I don't know if it's going to be enough at this point. I mean, Vitality, they lose the round, but you can tell just by the looks you see here on the camera, they're smiling. They have no care in the world right now because they know how big of a half that was.
Yeah, there hasn't really been a situation where I've looked at the player cams for Vitality and they felt uncomfortable. It's been all laughs for them. Of course, the favorites in this series and in this tournament, honestly shocking that they're in this position to begin with when you think about the hierarchy here in the West League. But trying to find that glory back again. And of course, a dominating series win here towards the final against Nemesis tomorrow would be huge for them. So they're definitely on that path. Definitely a couple of bumps in the road as far as sub base is concerned, but on Eagle Eye, they've just been another team.
Absolutely, but for Vitality, it's a clear advantage here. They don't want to show 5 maps worth of playbook over to Nemesis. A 3-0 here is extremely crucial for them to keep a few things secret before they go into that grand final, because they're going to need a few tricks up their sleeve to bring that one back against Nemesis, whereas LCK, they had to fight tooth and nail just to get themselves into the top 3, which was already a feat in itself, but unfortunately, nobody expects Vitality to be the team falling into the lower bracket to face them, so it's going to make it very much an uphill battle from here on to get it going. Spoxy, though, good way to start off the half, able to find himself one Kiko with the trade, make it a double kill as well, opens things nicely towards the A-bomb site. Now Slayer and Horus are left on the back foot here, looking for the retake, and already Flex has spotted Slayer on this corner position, and he knows he's got a chance to just go swing and take him down, and he'll take full advantage of that. Horus now left in a 1-on-4, and just no way out of this one, so LCK, clean opener in the second half.
Little bit more pep in the step now for LCK. There's an instant commitment onto the A-bomb site. And you got Spoxy finding an entry very straight away, and things look good for LCK in terms of the comeback. That nade does some significant damage across the board. They're just going to rinse and repeat, LCK. They want to commit to this A-bomb site yet again. And Lion Claw this time chimes in.
Yeah, good trades. Very favorable across the board for LCK. Horus, though, at least able to find one earlier on to get this one started. So now when you look at the HP, this one is a little bit more winnable for Vitality than the previous clutch. So Slayer and Horus, they've got a chance to find it. Slayer, you can see he's trying to get into a quick position where he can check the top of the A-bomb site without actually having to be there. And then he's going to go for the full flank. Horus as well, positioning to come out of the GR spawn. Now Slayer knows he's going to have to find a play over here towards long, but has to get through Spoxy first, who has a really good angle on this corner pocket. So Slayer, this is a key duel to win the round here, and he's going to find it. Now they've got a fighting chance. Horus has to try and capitalize quickly down the side of mid, but Dezane, this is such a hard angle to deal with. He's able to find himself one and Flex from above, finds the other. LCK get a second to kick off the half.
Ooh, I thought Spoxy's mistiming there might have cost some real concerns there for Vitality, or for LCK rather, and it doesn't work out in the end for Vitality, and this time around, Vitality will go on the offensive here. Aggressive in through mid, they drop the bomb as well. Spoxy hits the deck. Instant 5v3 here for Vitality. They want to end this one here and now.
Yeah, it's a smart call. Aggression constantly being thrown in the couple of rounds we saw from LCK, and they fire right back with the aggression themselves. They down the C4, and this is where LCK have a lot of trouble adapting in the mid round, and they're forced to play into Vitality's hand now with that C4 down on the B connector stairs. And Lion Claw, he's going to try and creep his way back up here, but they know they have a little bit of a task on their hands to get through here, especially when you think about Totson holding this entire long angle from the back of the BL spawn. It just puts them in such a tight spot with the C4 being dropped there. Dezane basically pre-firing to try and open up the bomb to be grabbed. They're able to find one, but they still can't get the C4. It's on the corner of that step, and it's just so hard to get over.
That is just brutal to try and jump up there. And you still got Horus not willing to give it up whatsoever. This is the worst spot for that C4 to drop. And now you've got Snare posted up onto a window angle as well. I mean, this can still fall apart for LCK very easily. The onus is on them to find some straggling defensive player, but it's not being given to them.
Yeah, a lot of this comes down to what Dezane does on this lurk. Unfortunately, Horus punishes it right away. Now they've got a chance at the bomb, though. Line Claw and Kiko go swinging to try and take it down. Horus now going to take this one into a 2v2, but the C4 has been recovered. Half the battle already won here from LCK, but now they still need to force their way towards one of these bomb sites. But with only 25 seconds to get this plant off, they've got to move quickly, and A is no longer an option. Vitality seems fully aware of that. You can see Slayer reposting here on the B staircase angle. Needs to win this fight, though, and he'll find it. Lion Claw goes down. Kiko, 15 seconds. They know it has to be B, and all they've got to do is group up for the retake.
But they're going to split apart. Felt like Slayer just wants to reset his position a little bit more, but both these players are going to be split apart, giving an opportunity over here to Kiko. Kiko has found a little bit of a gap here, trying to wrap back in. Is there an awareness here from Slayer? Yes, it is. Yes, there is. And the defuse will come in. Gets a little dicey there in terms of holding on to the bomb. I didn't necessarily love how they went about it, but they still look good in that retake, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. A little bit shaky there at the finish line, but Vitality still sitting at a nice 8-4 score line. LCK this time getting aggressive towards B, not going to pay off at all. Slayer able to mow down one right away. It's Lion Claw going down, but Horus, look at this fast flank. It's going to be really challenging to deal with. He's able to find one, and Snare, Snake, all of them collapse in, and that is a fast way to find themselves on 9 rounds. Vitality one step away from a 2-0 lead in this series.
And, you know, it does feel like LCK, they have some nice ideas, some nice thought processes on this map, but it just doesn't feel like they've had enough rounds to play with to really show the full extent of that playbook. And again, they're going to go straight at Slayer, who finds a quick double, and he nails the quick scope again. This one is done. Spoxy now left up in a 1-on-4 that shouldn't be winnable. And Vitality, sure, they were slow to start in this series, but now take a commanding lead in this best of 5, showcasing why they've been the best team in this season and why they want to get back to that grand final in swift fashion.
Yeah, an unfortunate fate here for LCK on Eagle Eye. Normally a map where I expect a lot more from them, but we're not going to be seeing it because Vitality is ready to put themselves into grand final form here. 10-4, a commanding win on LCK's map choice, and it might be an indicator of what's to come in map 3 of this series, because it was definitely a bit of a struggle on this one for LCK, and it seems like they may have lost their steam to go toe-to-toe with this team. And now I've got a lot of question marks as we look at that map 3, because thinking about a reverse sweep here in the lower bracket final would be just a huge uphill battle for LCK, and I don't know if they're up for it today.
Yeah, you know, New Mexico was always going to be a bit of a wild card in this series, but it's going to be difficult, I see, for at least from my perspective, to see LCK cause that reverse sweep. But we still got our panel to break things down for us, so we'll throw it to them for some little bit of analysis for you.
Thank you, guys, and what a way that Vitality actually finished the first half. I would say 72 was pretty hard, and especially when you have 5 rounds in a row and you see team LCK take a pause or like take their timeout, tech pause, and then yeah, it's another round for Vitality, and it was pretty hard for them to get back. Of course, Vitality had, sorry, not Vitality, LCK, they took like 2 rounds based off playing mid, sometime aggressive, trying to test the waters with Vitality, but once they found a way of winning versus Vitality at the first half, like the whole half was over.
Well, and that's when it comes to, I mentioned before that this is not LCK that we used to see before. LCK that we used to see before, they sometimes took their tactical push after 2-0 down. When they were 2-0 down, maybe 3-0 by max, they would instantly just hit tactical pause and just take the tactical pause and try to discuss, try to flip it over, because when you take your tactical pause after 5 rounds, that means that half of the game already is done for you. So even if you do a very good, strong performance, you'll not be able to get back into the adaptations. That's going to be happening from Vitality, because you're not playing a weaker team right now. You're playing a very strong team that will adapt. Even though if you take the tactical pause and win 2 or 3 rounds, when it's 5-0, 5-2, 5-3, still the adaptations will be ready from Vitality, and also they still have their tactical pause. So it's a very late tactical pause. It's not the case, of course, for them losing. But I said it before, and I'll say it today, that the individual skills coming out from LCK this season is not the best. And when it comes to teams that's having a very good individual skills, such as Trivial, such as Vitality, they usually struggle versus them. Maybe okay in the other cases, they won because they had better strategies, they had the better teamwork plays for LCK. But in such cases, when we're talking about Vitality, we've seen a lot of clutch rounds, a lot of multi-frags coming out from Vitality. For example, this is one of them. Snake, Slayer, we've seen it in the last round when he got PK with the USP and then the TRG quick scoop. The individual skills is just shaping everything for Vitality, and this is not the individual skills that we've seen from Vitality versus Nemesis. The guys are different, they're looking sharp, and they're looking solid on their map pick, on LCK's map pick.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking of looking sharp, you see that Horus is looking sharp for the entirety of this series. Like, even though he's the entry player, like the guy who tries to trade his life for like information, getting a pick or something like that. He's been the guy who's multi-fragging multiple times, and that's something to keep in consideration. Of course, Horus already got 1.5 KD, which is pretty decent at his spot, his position, rule overall. And at the same point, you will see Slayer just knocking LCK players off. You'll see that Line Claw, Spoxy, and Kiko been not having the best out of this game. And of course, you'd see like the scoreboard here. You got all 6 rounds with no answer from LCK, and the final 3 were just like the final nail in the coffin. But for me, I would love to keep LCK odds up, since we have seen it before. Like, I remember back in 2023 versus the same team versus Team Vitality under the name of 3BL, they made a huge reverse sweep.
Yeah, exactly.
2024, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. 2024 season 2, where they reverse sweep them. But back then, Zane was in his peak performance. Line Claw was just a line in the game. They had Raffen back then. He was one of the best entries ever introduced in the West League. Spoxy is always Spoxy since 2024. I cannot blame this guy. But looking also at Flex, he was the guy that's annoying the enemy team. But now, maybe the teams they understand how Flex is playing lately. So in my opinion, it's like we need to understand what LCK is going to bring us in the next phase and what they're going to be doing, because if they do not change, I believe that this is not the case as we've seen from regional finals, and this is not the case as we've seen from season 224. LCK right now are kind of weak when it comes to MYs, and Vitality are not going to give them such a chance in a third time again.
So will it be another time for LCK that they find a way to turn the game around, to go for full distance, 5 games, push it till the end, or Team Vitality will find a way to close it also? That's all what we're gonna figure out, but of course after our small breaks, so buckle up, stay tuned, get your popcorn, stay hydrated, and wait for game number 3.
This is exactly the kind of game and performance I wanted to see.
This is the Hail Mary.
Every individual player is bringing their A game right now.
That's what I'm talking about. I've had enough of being quiet. I want to get things moving.
Menacing, not able to get
Free! Oh my word, straight down through that smoke just reaching. Zane has what about Chris here? Yes, Trevor very scared going for that quick.
Short break, and we're back to you guys. Of course, we saw the first two games. Vitality got the best out of LCK, and they're one step away from going to the grand final. Nemesis, revenge. Like they're cooking their revenge versus Nemesis, but like let's not jump in conclusions. We're still in the game. LCK still got a chances, and when LCK been in this position multiple times, they have been in and out, being able to close most games and get back into on track.
Well, when if you're talking about a team down 2-0 and you want this team to win, then definitely you will be talking, maybe giving the pep talk about LCK. LCK was losing 2-0 in 2024 and they came back, they did 3-2, they were losing 2-0 in 2025 regional finals and they came back. Now it's LCK again. They are down 2-0 again. So if there is a team that is capable of doing this reverse sweep again, then it's LCK. But if it's the team that's taking this reverse sweep again and just trying not to stop it, then Vitality, I guess that's gonna be very weird for me. So now I don't think Vitality will be giving LCK such chances again. And even though when you're talking about the performance from Vitality this time and performance from LCK this time, yes, Vitality maybe it's the same. We're talking about the same level. They're on the same level, but LCK they are not on the same level right now because usually it was LCK and Vitality. They were very close. Vitality a bit better than LCK, but now it's the gap is bigger. And that's we've seen from the individual plays and from the gameplay, from the analysis, from the preparations for the game, for everything. Vitality is just unmatched in this matchup today versus LCK, and that's my opinion. So I would love to see LCK coming back at least for one map in this series. I don't want them to come and go just 3-0 without any fight from LCK because this is not LCK that we have expected them to see. However, it's a tough situation. We will bet and count on their comeback. But Vitality today, they're just looking so tough.
I don't know, from my side, history been not in Vitality's favor when it comes to reverse sweeping versus LCK. Like, they had a handful of those, so that's something you gotta keep in consideration. It's not easy to play versus LCK, and you cannot just sleep on this. You know that they have the capability of doing anything, especially if they just woke up. Like, if they find a way to bring everything to their normally paces and to the spot that they got into, I would say, in the semi-finals in the lower bracket, going full distance, doing everything. I believe, I trust that LCK still got some gas in the tank, so it's not gonna be easy, of course, for Vitality. And that's for New Mexico's stats here for LCKs, of course, both sides, and for Vitality. And for Vitality, you can see, like, it's clear like day and light that their GR side is not the best.
Well, I want to mention one thing, that we've seen two maps. We've seen Subbase, we've seen Eagle Eye. Now it's New Mexico. The funny part is, if LCK have a chance to win any map, it's New Mexico. It's not Eagle Eye that they picked. It's not Subbase, of course, that Vitality picked. It's New Mexico. So my question for LCK, why did you pick Eagle Eye? You know that Vitality are very strong on Eagle Eye. Just pick one of the worst maps. You already know how to play it. Or at least to make the matchup closer, because if Vitality is good and they are good on a map, the gap is like this. So LCK needs to close some gaps. So they need to bring Vitality down. They cannot go for them up, at least for now, because we've seen that LCK, they are having some troubles. And even like Klo said, that we are not having our best days. And it's quite normal in the esports. You're playing quite few games, quite a lot of games. It's not few games for you. So you need to bring Vitality down. How to bring Vitality down? Just pick one of their weakest maps. I'm not saying the weaker for them, because we're talking about Vitality is playing 4 or 5 perfect maps. 2 of them is sub-base, Eagle Eye, by the way, and it's New Compound, and there is no New Compound. So just pick New Mexico. Go for New Mexico. You have a chances in New Mexico. Maybe go on Ankara. You know how to play Ankara, and their Ankara maybe is not that good, and we've seen them falling shortly versus Unknights. Just pick one of their weaker maps, not your strongest map, because your strongest map versus Vitality is not gonna work, because it's one of their best maps, and they are in shape more than you. So that's my opinion for SK. You shouldn't have picked Eagle Eye. That's a big mistake, especially that you picked Eagle Eye after sub-base.
Yeah, Eagle Eye sub-base map's been treating LCK hard, harder enough to see them struggling in the lower bracket, final, not the grand final. But I believe that at this point we don't have a lot of time, that we will see LCK have to find a way to turn the tables around, or to get back into the serious game itself. We'll see. So players are ready, our casters are ready, and will New Mexico be LCK's playground, the place where they just shift everything around, or Vitality will find a way to close it out? And of course, to know how it goes, we'll head to Kyle and Baladin to break it down for us.
All right, it's going to be our potentially final map of this series. It feels like it's leaning that direction with what we've seen from Vitality. They've got a lot of momentum coming out of that second map of the series. This is one I agree with Penguin on, where I think this is their best shot for LCK at winning a map. Historically, they are very strong on the GR side of this map, which goes a long ways. But for me, it's going to be if they can mentally bounce back after the last map we saw, because that Eagle Eye was brutal.
I would say that there weren't too many positives that you could take away from that Eagle Eye, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, I think moving forward, this is it. I mean, this is, if you want to cause commotion in this series, if you want to see if there's any sort of reverse sweep potential, it's got to come from here. The stats don't necessarily paint the greatest picture for Vitality in terms of some of the numbers that they've got there, but I'm excited to see what LCK have. Can they mentally reset and put that behind them?
So far, just a quick 1-for-1. You can see the shotguns coming out from Flex there in the alleyway to shut it down, but ultimately it's going to be a bit of a game of setting the pace early on for LCK in this one. They've got to show they can get things going early in this one, and at least they get the GR side first. I was going to be worried if they had to start on the BL side in this one, because it's a lot harder to get momentum on, but for Lionclaw, takes matters into his own hands there, able to find Slayer. Nice little bit of counter utility as well. Stalls off this A push, and it should be LCK looking really clean in this situation. Zane able to find himself a nice one as well. Snare and Totson, there's really not a whole lot they're going to be able to do here, especially with that C4 down in a very difficult spot on the A ramp.
On the other side of that smoke as well, and Totson will not be able to find anything this time around. And there's Foxy to chime in as well. So LCK get themselves their first on the board. Already, I mean, just looking at the defense here, just a lot more aware of the openings that are available for Vitality, and great awareness in terms of crunching on these positions a little bit more as well. So already some early signs that suggest, yes, that this GR side just looks a lot more commanding and looks a lot more put together. But still a long way to go here in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle still for LCK, even with that advantage they've got in the opening round here. They're going to have to respond nicely if they want to hold on, but Flex, the shotgun, able to get it done. Very nicely found on the Snake, and got themselves another early advantage to work with, and Slayer trying to find something on the lurk, but it's actually going to be Snare who finds the first for Vitality, taking down Spoxy. That's a huge battle to win early on in here, but they still have to find a way to push through, and this is where Mexico is such a tough map. You've got to find just the smallest opening to work with to get through, but LCK just narrowly avoiding disaster there. They had 3 players pushed up, but eventually decided to split out.
Could have been a real car crash there, but instead the maneuver back over to this B bomb site. Flex again having to go to work with this shotgun, is able to get a shot off and pushes forward with the pistol. Nice little sequence there from Flex. Still brings us to a 2-on-2. Dezane is caught between a rock and a hard place. He's got to do so much with so little here. Slayer and Totson, meanwhile, will join hands and see if they can get to B. Second rotation comes in Kiku, so the 2-on-2 will have no surprises this time around.
Yeah, Slayer, though, a nice positional advantage from above. Zane not going to be ready for that one. Kiko, he's just stuck there. And Vitality able to scoop this one back up into their own hands. LCK going to take a quick pause. Looks like we may have had a disconnection there at the end of the round. So LCK is going to be a 1-1 after a very clean first, a bit shaky in the second. But that is where Vitality seems to take full advantage. But LCK, this is a side of the map they can't afford to lose. You saw it in the stats. They've got a 70% win rate on the GR, but the BL, pretty shaky for them on this map. So they need, in my mind, at least a 6-3 half here to feel like they can take it.
And why would you say that there's a weakness on the Blacklist side there for LCK?
I think a lot of it just comes down to the utility difference between these two teams. We've seen Vitality all day long. They've got the perfect flash of the nade stack to open things up, and it's been consistently missing, I think, from the BL sides and what we see from LCK. And this is a map where you really have to have clean utility execution to clear out these angles, which is why when you look at their record on this map, the BL side is a lot weaker for them. The GR works so well for them because it's one of the few defenses where you're allowed to be aggressively proactive pretty much as you want here, and that's the play style they love to have. So for them, it's almost putting them in a situation going into the BL side of this map where they have to play kind of counterintuitive to what they're used to. So I am curious to see how they might change things or adapt coming into this map, because it's definitely one where they have that potential to win, but they're going to have to put up a big first half, I think, to get that momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can already see this is the work that they've been putting in on the Global Risk side. It just feels like they've got a little bit more ideas rolling, and obviously, I'm not somebody that seems to see all these shotguns and stuff on a map all too often, but seeing it on New Mexico is definitely an exciting thing. But we've got a bit of a tech pause, folks. We're trying to get Line Claw back into the server, so we're going to take a little bit of a break. And when we come back, map 3 in our best of 5.
Welcome to the first season of CrossFire West League 2026. See this year's start of the Western League as 8 participating teams from all over the CrossFire West region battle it out in March to May in order to claim the throne and compete over a total prize pool of $228,000. For the first season of 2026, get treated to 3 months of high-stakes action, as the season consists of 2 regular season phases and a double elimination playoffs where legends are created. In the regular season, Phase 1, all 8 teams are included in a single group where they all play best of 3 matches in a single round-robin format. Support your favorite teams as every match counts here. Every performance in Phase 1 will determine which 4 teams will be part of the Elite group, where they are guaranteed playoffs, while the other 4 teams in the Contender group will either fight for playoffs or relegation. Expect no resets, as results accumulated in Phase 1 are carried over in the next phase of the competition. In the regular season Phase 2, witness teams from both groups compete in a single round-robin format within their same group. For the elites, this is their chance to secure advancement to the upper bracket round 2 of the playoffs. As for the contenders, be ready to see some of them say their goodbyes. In the playoffs, the 6 remaining teams will brawl in 10 total grueling best-of-5 blood fights in a double elimination bracket. 3 consecutive victories will result in a chance for royalty, while 2 defeats mean the end of a valiant journey. Legacies either move forward or are cut short. Here in the finals, experience a grand bout between a challenger from a victorious path and an adversary that has once tasted setbacks, to determine who will be crowned champion of the CrossFire West League Season 1. Not a memory, a movie. Every round, every map, every series is a mark of a continuous history. This is the road of recovery for the old glory. CrossFire West League, reclaim the throne.
Have a lot of info to work with, but they have got to be careful not to get caught off guard here. You can see a nice nade kill goes their way, but Hunt on the flank, able to get 2 big kills.
Even though Nemesis is 4-1 up, it feels like a much closer game purely because of these scenarios. Good kill from the back of the site for Sad. Ducking and diving, now Dipsy in an awkward position. Does find one, trade isn't quick enough though. Gives Dipsy a chance, he's going to run him down. More than enough time for that defused. Kiko's in the corner, Lion Claw and Zen have rotated in, Flex and Spoxy are going to be here too. All 10 players are pretty much going to be on this side of the server. Finally the first kill comes through and the bloodbath will begin. Oh my goodness, it's an absolute cluster. It's ended up in a 1v1, would you believe? Spoxy versus Dizzy, and Spoxy will complete. Unless they can't remove Flex, which surely they will, him being so low. There's an extra kill though. Now Alucard's a little bit nervous knowing that he could catch him, and Flex has caught him.
No trigger discipline here, and Snake and Snare, both the dynamic duo, a walking path through a small tight angle here, takes another one, and a Snake pushing here, pretty aggressive, holding the pistol, not 1 but 2, 3, 4 players in front of him, taking a pretty massive swing here with a triple kill. Come on, Dodson! His teammate just felt that he's jealous. Like, yeah, he is also playing with the sniper, and Snox clubbing it down, taking 1, 2, make it 3.
Yeah, maybe only a flash in the pan for Nemesis.
Yeah, right now Nemesis struggling in mid, but maybe not for too much longer. Dipsy, a nice double kill, make it a triple kill.
Someone holds the...
All right, looks like we've got things resolved here. A bit of a DC on the side of LCK. I believe it was Lion Claw, but everybody is back and ready for the action. It is going to be 1-1 as we jump back into Mexico. And it's going to be up to LCK, I think, to see what the pace looks like when we hop back in. They're on the GR side. They're the team 0-2 down in this series. And I feel like, especially after a bit of a time to breathe here, they're the team that's going to have to set the tone coming back into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for Vitality, I mean, it feels like everything's in the palm of their hand. They should have the opportunity to close this out. But for LCK, you want to set the tempo straight away. You want to find a way to at least give yourself the confidence to believe that a reverse sweep is possible. And it's got to start with the continued force here on the defense. And obviously, you started to see some stuff moving forward in the right direction. But yeah, it's got to be a lot more consistent. It's got to happen a lot more often. And if that doesn't happen, as I mentioned before, this series will be done in 3.
Vitality off to a slow start, just taking control of the alleyway in this one. And you can see LCK putting a lot of favor towards the A bomb site. 4 players stacked to that side of the map, and really only a Lion Claw holding things down otherwise on this midsection here, just trying to get that early spot if the push comes to life. But as we've seen from Vitality throughout this head-to-head, and pretty much the last couple of maps I've seen outside of that from them as well, is they've become the team that kind of just lets the other team make the first move on their GR side. They like to kick back and wait for a mistake to potentially show itself, and it's worked quite well for them so far against LCK's playstyle. This time around, it's Totson who gets caught off guard, though. Flex, a nice little push into the alleyway, nets them the early lead.
Nice to find for sure. Now, a bit more of a slowdown here from Vitality. He's temporarily. Snare now finds one. Opens the door back up and wants to rejoin back with his team. But this causes some questions as to where Flex wants to get off to. Going a bit more aggressive than you think and catches out Snare. Very crucial kill to find for LCK. But there's still kills to be had in the middle of the map. A still under threat, and Kiku is still alone.
Yeah, it's a tough one here, but thankfully they'll be able to find the advantage for now thanks to Lion Claw hitting a nice shot onto Horse. Snake and Slayer, though, still toying with things. Actually, they go for the reverse here and go all the way back to B, and it may have actually been enough to catch them off guard, and you've got to deal with Lion Claw in between, which is really the tricky point here. Lion Claw can get over there very fast alongside Flex to try and disrupt things here, but it's going to leave Snake in a tight spot here all alone. Slayer now left 1 versus 3, able to find the first, but does not know that Lion Claw is already right beneath him. And that'll be a nice one from LCK, again doing work on this GR side.
Yeah, they needed to collect that one for sure. It was a bit touch and go for a bit. Just a couple of key positions being lost temporarily, some defenses caught out in different spots, but piecing it together in the tail end is enough at the end of the day. Kiko now wanting to get a little bit more aggressive alongside some of his teammates. The jump spot is there, but Snare very keen to these game plans that are coming from the other end from LCK. He spots a little bit of shoulder, can't connect the shot. They're going to continue to try and push the issue, and Snare will find yet another.
Yeah, really good reposition there from Snare, forcing the fights, but in a way where he still has the comfort on the duel, and now it puts LCK into a really difficult position. They essentially just have to give up the majority of the A bomb site to try and make a play. It's going to be Kiko maybe pushing out to try and find something through the alleyway, but with how 3 players get split up on this map so easily, it's going to be tough playing this one lane at a time. You can see Lion Claw wants to try and make something happen from the B sewers, but not going to find anything, and decides it is going to be worth the gamble to stack towards A. Spoxy good for a first on the water push. To be Lion Claw looking for that repeat here. He's going to find himself a nice double kill, and just like that, the winning chances are there for LCK in this round after all. Snake and Totson looking for some sort of cleanup if they can find it, but both of them are extremely low on HP, less than 10 on Snake, but it doesn't stop him from finding the kill onto Spoxy, and this is where things could still go south here. They may not have the HP advantage, but the angles are super favorable on this one. Lion Claw going for the swing. He's not ready for it, and now it's all onto Totson. No HP to work with. Has to just play time here, but it's not going to stop him from playing aggressive. With 10 HP, just goes for the pre-fire through the edge of the smoke, but it's a bit of a dancing game.
I'm surprised that Kiko doesn't even bother firing back, but Totson, I mean, it's really one option. It's to go through that window. There's not enough time to try anything else. It's got to be a raw duel, and he's got to nail the headshot. Kiko still has a bit of utility to use and swings out after it pops, and that's just a nice little sequence there from Kiko. Not overcomplicating it, not trying to reinvent the wheel, and LCK get themselves their third. These rounds aren't necessarily the easiest in terms of converting, but at the very least, Kyle, they're getting it done. And at this point, that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for LCK, it's just one round at a time. That's the way they need to play this game to get themselves in a position where 3 maps even feels like something they could do. So can't blame them here with the way things are shaping up. Big shout out to Lion Claw, though. He's been quiet all day long, but he's currently 5-1 since the last reset. So really big momentum boost from him as a player. And a key moment as well where things weren't looking so good for their chances in this series, and now they've got a real chance at taking this 3rd map after all. Vitality, though, on the other hand, looking to try and take matters into their own hands in this mid-aggression, but they're letting the smoke screen stall them out here, so looks like it might be down to just playing the clock again.
Yeah, they don't want any shenanigans around that smoke, understandably so. But LCK continued to replenish that position, not giving space over for free to this offense. Continuing to peer. Now this time LCK will decide to band together. We get a bit more inquisitive over on this B bomb site. Get Lion Claw more involved into the fight, and he's cleared out that half of the map. So Vitality now, they don't really have any surprises in this one.
Yeah, they pretty much just have to force this mid to B play. Not a whole lot of other option to work with. They do leave Slayer to go for the late lurk from his position, but at the end of the day, there's also not a whole lot of defenders over towards B if they're able to get that read. Dezane, though, he wants to poke and prod at these players in mid, able to find one onto Snare. A good way to keep the numbers on their side, but Horus, this could be a great sneak attack on the Lion Claw. He's just not ready for it, and now that opens up the B bomb site completely. The rotation a little bit late here, and now on top of it, they've got to worry about this lurk as well. Totson, it's all about the timing for him here. Flex, though, wants to try and shut things down while he can. He's able to find himself one, but Vitality holding strong for the moment. This flank has to be everything, though, for them. Totson has the perfect spot for the backstab. Unfortunately, he's going to be a little bit late here. Now Totson, the pressure's on him. The defuse not going to be in a spot where he can actually block it either. And unfortunately in the fight, it's just not going to work out. It looked so promising for a moment for Vitality, but LCK, they're scraping by to get them.
Yeah, you think that shot from Slayer should be enough to get it over the line for Vitality, but it doesn't happen this time around, and surprising that LCK are this formidable in post-plant situations, but they're making the right decisions, they're nailing the right shots, and putting together a case slowly but surely that maybe the series isn't done with just yet. Still need to have this commanding lead on the defense to really feel comfortable. We have spoken about the woes on the offense. Vitality know that they're not out of this just yet. They've gotten so close on so many accounts that it just feels like a matter of time in their minds that they can convert one.
Yeah, for Vitality, the name of the game is just finding a way to make this half as close as possible from where it's at. If they can do that, the GR side should feel a little bit more comfortable for them because, like we've mentioned, LCK tends to struggle a bit more on that side of the map, so I think they'll have some advantages once we get to the side swap, but if they give up an 8-1, 7-2 half, it's still not going to be an easy road to recover. Lion Claw this time around, though, has the pocket position, but he peeks way too early there, and they just line them up. Now Flex has to try and get something done by himself, but it's a good start here from him and Dezane, finding one apiece. Still, there's a lot more to be dealt with from Vitality. The counter utility starting to come down as well to block Kiko from getting in, and Flex himself is down to about 10 HP for the remainder of this round, so he's going to have to go for a much safer retake position.
Bomb does go down, and a lot is on the shoulders of Kiko, who's done a good bit of work here in clutch situations, but this one might be a bridge too far, especially with his teammate on low HP. Flex looking for something, and gets a bit of info, but it's not going to happen at the tail end of it all. Vitality finally do get their second round, and it's just off the back of a very quick pop into that B bomb site. Keeping it simple and forcing LCK to have some fast decisions in terms of a retake.
Yeah, for Vitality, that's a huge round to take away. Keeps things a little bit closer, and also keeps that comfort of knowing they could still somehow win this opening half of Mexico as well. So for them, really good position to be in. But I do question this one. The shotgun's in play. Always a really big risk here when you're on the blacklist side. Snake going to be leading this A clear with that shotgun in hand. Totson right behind, though, with the pistol to make sure at the very least, if it doesn't work out, the trade is there. You can see LCK are pretty keen to this position as well, though. A lot of spot checks going on the alleyway and the A ramp here, and It's going to be a slow pace again from Vitality. They're just hoping someone makes the mistake of peeking this angle. They're going to sneak Snake across as well, try and set up a little bit of a cross, but Snake almost a bit too anxious there, but look at that shot from Flex to follow it up.
That's a nice little flick there. And now Vitality feels a little bit more pressure to go, and Horus finds a spam through the smoke. Dezane hits the deck. And we're back into a 4-on-4. I think now that they've got that man-even situation, they can slow it down yet again. But Lionclaw is still unrelenting. He's still sticking around, still looking for something before going down.
Yeah, for Vitality here, they're just looking for any other advantage they might be able to grab before the push. They know Snake's a little bit low on HP as well, so they're trying to set up some sort of way to capitalize on his spot, but Slayer gets the first to peek. He's going to find Lioneclaw with a nice tap there. Flex, he's going to be spotted out. Horus quickly trades that one. Still a 2-on-2. Kiko and Spoxy, the last two left to try and hold on to position, but they don't actually have any sight to work with at this point. They've kind of flipped sides here on this A-bomb side for the post plan, so Horus should get it down safely, but Kiko already in the window could be a bit of a threat here. Horus goes down right away. Snare a bit out of position as well to stop this defuse. He's only just outside the double doors.
I don't know how you piece this one together, and there won't be any way to piece this one together as LCK figured this one out. Spoxy chimes in, and they've gotten themselves their 5th round. It just feels like no matter how many bomb sites Vitality are able to breach, they aren't able to get the final nail in the coffin to really feel comfortable. I mean, the rotations are definitely stellar here from LCK in terms of catching Vitality off guard, but it's got to be a little bit more of a tighter post-plant situation here for Vitality if they want to notch a couple more rounds on the tail end of this half.
Yeah, Vitality really need at least 3, if not 4 rounds here to give themselves a good chance going into the second, but for them, part of the issue on this map has just been playing a little bit too slow, so I like the change here, taking mid aggressively from the start. It's going to get them an early kill on Dezane. Lionclaw not able to hold it up as well, and this is where they thrive. Under the pressure of a fast execution, Flex gets the collateral with the shotgun, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough to hold on to that B-bomb site. Now it leaves Kiko alone in a 1-on-3. He's already been spotted out as well. Snare has all the info he needs, doesn't have to take the fight here, and Vitality should be looking good for a 3rd.
Yeah, way more discipline this time for Vitality, at least in this post-plant situation. And nice simplicity here from Vitality to just make it as easy as possible to confirm these rounds. Don't complicate it with the number of default phases that you've had. Just back your players, back your individuals to find these entries and confirm the round. This time Snare will get a bit more aggressive on his own in mid, and he'll be rewarded. Finally wins that duel against his counterpart in Spoxy.
Yeah, really good early game in the round. Snare as well, finding another. Dotson obliterates Flex in the alleyway, and just as much as they had a massive lead at one point in this half, it might just come down to a 1-round lead unless Dezane and Lioneclaw can find a way to win the 2v5. He does manage to find Horus, but Dezane is going to have to do a little bit more than that to recover this one. And Vitality just take out Lioneclaw on the back of B. Not really any chance for him to hold on to this one. And Dezane, as much as I'd like to believe here, it feels like Vitality has started to wake up on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this time they swing like a pendulum back and forth, getting pick after pick, and it's really all Snare there in that round. You know, you see him get a pick in mid, decides to move back over, find another pick, and after that, I mean, Rifle Corps is just really going to struggle to find anything on the way out. Vitality just finding ways to click back into place here, and they're doing it at the right time. And if they're able to just find enough as they have now, I think they'll be very happy moving forward after they swap sides.
Yeah, I mean, a 4-5 half on the BL, not too bad at all on this map, which does tend to lean towards the GR side a bit. So I feel like for Vitality, especially if they can come out with an opening round win here in the second half, they're going to be feeling really good about their chances to take this one away, because the Blacklist side of Mexico is a very momentum-based side of the map. If you don't feel like you can take that control over the mid position, you often play a bit more reserved and just kind of wait for those smoke cycles to push through. And that's a habit we actually saw from Vitality in the first half. And when they finally broke that habit of waiting on those smokes to push, they had some really successful late-game rounds there. And I'm hoping LCK picks on that early on as well, because if they give too much respect, I think, to Vitality on the GR side, it's already going to be over.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to talk about for LCK at this point. After feeling so comfortable in this game of Crossfire, but now have to really take a hard look in the mirror and realize this is not going to be easy. It's just such a mental war that you have to go through to pull yourself out of an 0-2 hole, and you really can't take your eye off the ball at any stage of that reverse sweep. And as you've seen, it sort of did in that late stage of the first half, that it really begs the question of do they have enough in the tank, and I'm slowly leaning to no. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, I'd agree. If they could have pulled the 7-2 half and keep that momentum up to the finish line before the side swap here, I would have said this map is surely theirs for the taking, but now there's a lot of doubt in my mind as we kick off the second half. Vitality, though, wasting no time. They just go for the mid push. I don't know if I agree with this decision, but LCK going to reap the rewards here. It's a 3-for-1 exchange, and Vitality just not quite ready for the response on that one. Slayer and Snare, though, still could potentially find their way to do it. Both of them extremely strong on the day, so I wouldn't say it's unwinnable just yet. Flex, though, make sure at the very least they trade as Slayer finds one onto Kiko, so now Snare has to do all of the heavy lifting to win this first round of the half. He's stuck behind that smoke on the double doors, sneaks out actually without getting caught just yet. With the TRG, just doesn't have that ability to spray transfer, so there's no way out here. So LCK continue to hold this in the second half.
Felt like they were a bit gift wrapped on that one to get that round there. Kind of wild that they want to put the pressure on this offense this early on. Feels like something that they might want to throw in 3-4 rounds into the second half, but now Vitality will slow down just a little bit. So have a bit more aggression coming out from the defense here regardless. But nothing falling just yet into place for LCK. Still posturing across New Mexico here.
Yeah, definitely an interesting first round from Vitality, a bit too risky, but they seem to have learned their lesson. Now LCK, this is going to be the first true test for them, I think, on this side of the map. They've got to be the ones to make a first move, and that's where we've seen them struggle a little bit throughout this head-to-head, but they are going to be putting those eyes over towards the B bomb side. 3 players starting to work their way up there, but Snake takes matters into his own hands, gets proactive, finds the kill onto Lion Claw. Slayer, what an angle to hold with the TRG. I would never expect anyone to be there, but it pans out for a nice double. Spoxy traded down after one as well, and Vitality hold the line almost perfectly in this one. Flex traded down at the very end, and just like that, they're right back in it.
I mean, that is unorthodox to say the least there from Snake, but he gets the job done, finds the 2 that he was looking for. At the end of the day, if you're an anchor, if you're able to get that multi, you'll be smiling from ear to ear knowing that the rotations have an easier job. LCK now realize that mid control is being lost again and again. And the previous, they suffer the consequences because of that. Snake now going on a bit of a fact-finding mission as well. Everybody on the defense of Vitality searching for a potential duel to take early on.
Yeah, for LCK, it just comes down to these small differences. And like I said earlier in the day, utility is one of the big differences between these two teams. You think back to that previous round, all it would have taken is one well-placed flash to clear out that angle. Instead, they suffer the consequences of it. This time, Snake, he's looking to go for the repeat play here, getting aggressive in the alley. He's going to find 1, 2, maybe even a third. He takes them all down, and not what you want to see if you're an LCK fan, but Snake, he's not even done just yet. There's a fourth on the horizon, and he might just go for the ace here if he can. Finds himself the fourth, and he's going to have a chance at the clean ace. Tots in there to make sure it goes their way, but Vitality, that is a devastating blow to the morale of LCK.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta credit Snake for being as aggressive as he was, but there's gotta be just better trading protocols there for LCK, and that's definitely one that they would want back. It's not like the B bomb side had too many players involved beyond Snake, and that's one of those rounds that they have to capitalize upon. They have to force a 1-for-1, but they aren't able to do it, and some of these offensive woes coming back to bite them slowly but surely here for LCK. And it feels like they are losing grip of this set as time continues to go on. This time, Vitality pull all the way back. No need to take more aggressive stances, and they're fine with that. They want to put the ball in LCK's court.
Yeah, it's the right move. LCK, when they have to bite first, have been a little bit lackluster on the day, and they just haven't found a way to be as cohesive as they need to under the pressure. Slayer, the TRG in hand, though, seems to be aware there could be a late push coming through, but he's actually going to get pinched out of position. Might not matter. It's the triple kill, and he has the chance to do it all here himself. Gets the quad kill. Flex now stuck in the back corner of the B bomb site, wondering what has gone wrong here, but they're going to let Slayer go for the full ace here if he can find it. They get the flash set up for him, and he's going to do it. Slayer, all 5, the ace. Just a devastating blow and potentially the nail in the coffin for this series.
I gotta say, great teammates for Slayer in that situation, you know. Not going for the duel, giving the ace over. You don't see that all too often, Kyle, and I'm happy to see that they've got a little bit of camaraderie building there as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And now it sits at a point where it's extremely uncomfortable for LCK to continue forward. They're on the more challenging side. They've lost their lead already in the start of the second half, and when you're already down 2-0 in the series, it starts to feel a little bit of a devastating fate ahead for them, but see if there's any recovery left in store, because 2 out of the last 3 rounds have been an ace and a near ace, so makes you wonder what LCK has left.
Yeah, these multi-kills really lead me to believe that LCK don't have enough. They're trying really hard to make these pack plays work, but they're going into choke points that are very easily convertible here from the defense. Aggression now from Tatsun this time around. He's got a companion beside him, and they're able to find that first kill, do a little bit of damage, and fall away scot-free, essentially. This is great for Vitality in the long scheme of things. But here comes the aggression coming back over from the offense.
I mean, LCK, it feels like they can't catch a breakout here. Slayer, always right there and ready to go. Up to 9 in the second half already for him. And Lion Claw, at least able to find himself 1 in response. But Slayer, he's been so good from this position on the quad box, able to find 2. And that should be it for the round. Flex, 1 versus 3. Doesn't even have the C4 to work with either on this push. He's spotted through the double doors, and they're almost able to find him through them. Able to reset at least for the moment, but with where that C4 is, this just doesn't seem likely at all.
And there's a wrap from Slayer. Has been on an absolute tear on this Global Risk side. It feels like he really can't make a wrong decision. Feels like every shot is connecting as well. This is just that flow state that you're looking for from Vitality's top player. Doing it all. 12-2 here in the second half alone. And now, if you're LCK, you're wondering how the hell do you pull yourself back into this game?
Yeah, such a tough one. Tatsun as well makes it even more difficult, and it's scary to think about a world where this was once a 5-2 lead for LCK, and how quickly things can change when Vitality turns it up another notch. For Vitality at this point, though, they've got to find a way to hang on to this A-bomb site. Dezane able to find at least one opening here. The problem is almost all of Vitality is sitting on the back of this bomb site. They know all they need on the opposite side of the map is Slayer, and it forces this bizarre added pressure onto Vitality, but LCK comes in stride to meet it there. Everyone goes down aside from Totson, who's just stuck on the back of the forklift now.
A little overconfidence here, I would say, from Vitality, trying to take some disadvantageous duels alone with no trade potential, and LCK get a second lease on life. They were offered an opportunity there and they seize it. You know, it does feel like Vitality still have to earn these last 2 rounds. That they can't just kind of waltz their way to the finish line just yet. Snake back to his antics in that little choke point there. You've seen what he can do from that angle. And LCK will still consider this B Apartments play, and there's still players around every corner, and they've got Slayer to deal with.
Slayer's so good as well at repositioning here to catch them off guard. Look at this angle as well. He just likes to tuck away and make it so difficult. Slayer, though, only going to be good for one, a bit unconditional from him. And the trade's actually favorable to LCK to start it off, but Snake already on the backstab, able to find one, lurking through to take down Flex. Now it's an even numbers retake, and this is where things could actually pan out for LCK if they're able to hang on. They've got the positional advantage in this round to work with, but Dezane, he's the player who really has to make sure he hits this first shot. He's going to be overexposed to the alley push, and that smoke and flash combo from Vitality, really good on the retake. It forces Dezane out of position, and look at Totson. He's already sticking the defuse. Nobody can stop him. Totson just gets the ninja, and that's the round.
Oh, and I mean, you talk about the outclassing of utility between these two teams. The smoke-flash combination is absolutely perfect. You spoke again about Dezane having to do a lot of heavy lifting, and he just gets completely neutralized. Isn't even able to spot out any players, and that feels like the beginning of the end here for LCK. Slayer now up to bat. He goes aggressive to find one, but he is traded out. And we still have a 4-on-4 as LCK will probably look to slow things down now.
Yeah, for LCK, it's already looking a little bit scary. Lion Claw's down and out. Kiko and Spoxy taking some early damage as well, but Vitality knows all they've got to do after disrupting the start of this round is play a little bit safe here, but look at Horus. He's not even going to slow down. He's already got a backstab lined up. He's going to be spotted, though, a little bit too early. Maybe just a little bit impatient there on that one, giving LCK now a fighting chance at the round, but it's not over just yet. Flex able to find one on top of it, but Snake, he spots the barrel of the gun, and that could be the start of something special here, but Dezane makes sure it's not out of bounds just yet. Snare left in a 1-on-3 now.
A difficult one, but crazier things have happened in Snare's career. He would have liked that nade to connect just off the mark. Try to reorient himself. Could have potentially spotted a barrel, but isn't able to. Still will continue to encroach. Might have given a sound cue over. Pistol spotted, and Kiko will connect. So a necessary round from LCK to keep them alive here. And they're just in touching distance to equalizing, but it's just so scrappy in terms of trying to get this one done for LCK, and I just don't know if they've got enough clutch factor in them to sustain this.
Yeah, this is a crucial one. It's all or nothing for LCK, but Vitality, it seems like just when they need to reel it in and play a little bit safer, they're able to do so. But a lot on the line here. Vitality can't afford to risk this one going into OT because they've seen themselves in this position before, about to win a series 3-0, and then they've let it slip on several occasions to a reverse sweep from LCK, so no room for error at this point for them as well. But with Slayer sitting at a 14-5 just in the second half, it does give you that extra sense of comfort.
Yeah, absolutely, and Slayer will have to be the first up to bat once again, get spammed down just slightly, and he wants to stick around to duel. Wants to trust his hot hand, and it doesn't net them a kill. With that, man advantage for LCK, now bearing down on this B split. It's Horus's time to shine. He's able to find one and fall away. Tosses in a flash to give himself a little bit of safety, but it's into Snake, and we've seen what he can do from this position. He's able to find one, but it's only one. Trades still go very favorably in favor of Vitality. Low HP on both Flex and Kiko. and this should be Horace's turn to just close things out. It's a little close on New Mexico, but at the end of the day, Vitality show why they are dominant within the West League, and they will march on for a rematch against Team Nemesis tomorrow.
Yeah, what a matchup. Vitality, though, showing us they can do it in a 3-0 fashion. It looked a little bit scary there at the finish line for a few moments, but also so many individual star plays stepping up from Vitality in the second half to really make sure they got it done. But you've got to shout out LCK for the run they had. They got dropped into the lower bracket almost immediately as a fan favorite to get a top 3. They still at least managed to carve that out for themselves, and ultimately they still won 4 matches in this playoff setting, so still a really good run from them. And obviously when you go up against Vitality, this is just what happens, but we're going to go ahead and throw it to the panel to break it down and give us a good look at what our grand final is going to look like.
Thank you guys for this amazing cast, and what a way for Team Vitality to close it out. What a way for Slayer to just end the misery of LCK and this best of 3, and what a way that he captured a win out of the lion's mouth. Congrats to Vitality, and of course hard luck to LCK. They had a really tough opponent, which is basically the best in the West, at least for now. Of course they still got a tough challenge for tomorrow, and for the result, you would say, like, yeah, as of course what Kyle said, that LCK made it all to the lower bracket grand final after they just got knocked out once we got to the playoffs.
Yeah, hard luck for LCK. That's it for the season. They got the 3rd place. In my opinion, it's not that bad. Talking about they started on the lower bracket. Any loss could have ended everything. They started by losing to 3BL. They dropped down. They played the Noobs. If they lost, they leave. Then they play 3BL again. It was a very, very close game. I guess it was the closest in the lower bracket. And they were about to get knocked out, but they win. They go to Knights, they win. That's it for them. You can't just have everything when you're on the loser bracket because you don't have any other chances. So hard luck to LCK, and well played by Vitality. That's Vitality that we'll be looking forward to see. That's Vitality that they are fixing mistakes, playing together. In my opinion, we've seen Vitality trying to play again a bit aggressive, trying to play fast rounds. It didn't work out well for them. If you watch Nemesis game versus Vitality, I wasn't here, but I watched the game. They played a lot of fast rounds in the game, and none of them were working. Maybe 3 or 4 times they failed. Maybe 1 time it worked. So Vitality needs to be working on that. And as I mentioned, Mexico is the map that you should have picked versus Vitality, because Vitality, they showed some weaknesses at the beginning of the game, but in the end, I don't think that this was the case for them. They were down 2-0. Maybe they didn't have the passion. Maybe they didn't have that kind of maybe we're talking about the momentum as the first map. So it could have been different if they played it as the second map rather than playing Eagle Eye, which was the worst performance come out from LCK in this best of 5, because they played 3 maps: 10-7 first map, 10-5 second map, 10-8 third map, which is Mexico. In my opinion, if Mexico was second, maybe it would be different.
Of course, and that brings us back to the playoff run that we have seen from LCK when it comes to Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye, they have lost it versus Anubis, and they lost it versus 3BL twice, once in the upper bracket, once in the lower bracket, and I believe on the 3rd time, like, they didn't have Eagle Eye on other occasions on the playoffs. So it seems like they have a pattern that we always go for Eagle Eye. Like, guys, it's not working for the first time. We'll do it again. They lost. We'll do it again. They lost. And once you make the same mistake 4 times, there is no way of coming back, I would say. That if we had a different V2, a different map selection, that might be a different result, since Vitality are not having their best season, LCK are not having their best season, and keep in mind, even though that they're not at their best, they are the top, in the top 3, of course. You can see LCK secure the 3rd place, and now Vitality will play for the title versus Nemesis, who's one of the teams that showed Team not LCK, showed the Team Vitality no mercy at the previous time that they played versus each other. I would say hard luck to LCK. They had a tough run this season, but I believe they will come back stronger on the next season.
Yeah, it's time for LSK to a bit chill. It's time for LSK to take a break, to recap, to recheck the maps, to redo their homework. They have Kiko, by the way. He's a new comer for the team. Maybe he's not just still. He needs more time to adapt. And so when you're talking about top tier players, it's not easy for him to adapt with another team because every team have its own strategies. So Kiko needs time. The team needs time, and LCK will come back stronger. However, for Vitality, we said they will come back stronger, and they came back stronger than ever. They came back faster than ever after losing and dropping to Nemesis. Now they came back with a 3-0 fashion win, which is a clean sweep out of LCK. The way that Vitality played this map is very good. We've seen a good teamwork from the guys. I want to highlight 2 rounds, or maybe 3 rounds. Snake, the guy with the shotgun on the alley, is just pain for the enemy teams. They need to get the rid out of him because we've seen Famous also is using Bolt, but Snake wasn't using the Bolt, he was using the AA. So these shotguns on Ali is very, very painful for the enemy teams to watch and for the enemy teams to handle. So it's a good quick reaction coming out from Snake because he's replying for Flex's shotgun that we've seen from him because Flex used the Bolt multiple times. However, in the end, Vitality, they are getting stronger and stronger in New Mexico, and that's a good, quiet matchups for them. LCK, they are still the team that we're looking forward to see them on the EWC, so I would love them to evolve their maps, because what's making LCK's run is tough this season, that they have a weak map veto. They don't have a strong map. They have 2-3 average maps, 1 strong map probably, and the rest are just permanent banned maps like Neo Compound. So they need to work on their veto in order to get more and better results for their team.
Of course, it was tough for Team LCK, but for this point, or like this point moving forward, I would just love to say congrats to Team Vitality. They didn't secure the win yet. They still have Nemesis. And Nemesis versus Vitality, it should be a close one. 5 games at the previous time. We had double comics on the side of course, Team Nemesis. But for that time, like, let's leave this conversation to tomorrow. And for today, let's just give the set MVP to Slayer. And of course, give the match MVP to Slayer. I believe he should be the match MVP after his performance on those 3 maps.
He's the 3 maps set MVP. Yes, I know that Horus was the set MVP for Eagle Eye, but Slayer had 2.17 KD. Horus had 1.50 because Horus probably had more diffuses, more plants, maybe more in terms of kills, points. In my opinion, today Slayer will jump to maybe 2nd place or maybe going further to 1st place after Spoxy's elimination. This guy is unmatched when it comes to rifle because I exclude any sniper from the ranking list. That's how I watch the players, because the snipers cannot be matched with the rifles. So I just exclude the snipers. Like Muffin is getting insane, extraordinary KD. He's just a sniper player. I'm not discounting the sniper players, but sniper players, when they are matched to rifle players, no, that's not good. But if you match the sniper players with the sniper players, Muffin is one of the best, of course. So Slayer, in my opinion, is and the only MVP for this tournament in case we are seeing a winner, Vitality as a winner. If not, I would say Comics definitely from Nemesis.
Of course. Like, you got your own listing for the players, and you would love to keep the snipers out, and I respect that. They have 3 shots. Like, you give him a body shot, he's down. That's basically it. But of course, they are crucial most of the times. But here you would see the replays for Slayer. He is of course the match MVP, and you'll see like a lot of replays from Subbase, from Eagle Eye, and of course from our 3rd map, New Mexico, which was a banger. I believe that is our first ace in a lower bracket grand final, of course, for 2026. And with that being said, I believe that they should be all set to go to the grand final. They're not gonna be having an easy target on the final, and I would actually love to ask Of course, Slayer in our interview some questions about their match for tomorrow. It's not gonna be easy. What do you think, Penguin?
Well, it's not going to be easy because we've seen Nemesis. They are better than LCK in my opinion. Nemesis is the only team that's kinda matching Vitality when it comes to team play, because LCK we've seen their shaky performance already, and we mentioned that their shaky Vitality also showed us some shaky performance in the playoffs when they almost got knocked out by our Knights. Maybe again versus Nemesis they didn't have that much power that we're seeing right now today. That is just, we can say that it's an off day for them. However, they came back strong today to show a good and strong performance, coming out winning LCK 3-0, clean sweeping them in the low bracket finals. So that's a statement by them. That's a statement to show that, okay, we might be having a bad day, but then we are not having a bad tournament, and they are back in the finals.
Of course, reaching finals is what's most important for the teams, for the players, and for everyone. And for Vitality, they made it to finals through like tough times, of course. But for this point, I would love to get into our interview. I believe that Slayer is here with us, but we will be going through this interview in just few moments. But until we get into the interview, 3-0 ace on the semi-final is something not to be missed, and especially when it's versus their all-time rivalry LCK. And of course, now I believe that the interview is ready, and Slayer will be with us in a short notice. And hello, Slayer. Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing?
Hello, alaikum assalam. All good. What about you?
So of course, I would love to say congrats on the win, but at the same time,
Thank you.
I would love to say that that's where Vitality should be in the grand final. And of course, you're going back to your normal place. And now I will ask you just like a few questions about what happened today, and of course on tomorrow. So for today, man, you were killing it on the field. How did it feel?
First of all, we came today to make sure what happened against Nemesis the last week will not happen again. But unlucky, LCK paid the price instead of them.
Ouch. That's tough statement. Okay, Penguin, go ahead.
Of course, congratulations for the win, and everybody was going to be talking about the next game. We're not going to be talking about this game because we all saw what Dipsy said, and we all saw what Snake said as well. Snake said that there is a big gap between Vitality and Nemesis, and then Dipsy replied and said there is no big gap. So you're facing Nemesis again in a rematch. What is the biggest lesson that you guys learned from the last loss versus them?
Speaking about the day we lost against Nemesis, first of all, I had an exam and rushed my Uber to the gaming house, so I didn't like prepare, and we didn't focus on our on our diet before it. Like we didn't we lost energy after the second map already because we didn't focus on our meals, the food and stuff like this. So I think this is the main issue, and that's why we didn't shoot back against them. So right now we know the problem and we will fix it. Like as you can see today, it's already fixed. We make sure that will not happen again.
Yeah, of course, that's pretty important. And like you basically answered the two questions that I have in mind. Of course, what happened on the previous week versus Nemesis, and how did everything go in today's matchup? And like you pretty cleared everything for me. So the question will be for me. On last week, we had, of course, an interview with Comics. I believe it was with Comics Penguin, right?
No,
I believe he said
Dipsy. You're talking about Nemesis. Nemesis.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it was Dipsy.
Yeah, exactly. With the Dipsy, it feels like Slayer already remember what Dipsy said, and he knows where I'm going at. So he said after, of course, our previous interview, like you guys said, there is huge gap. He had the response that there is no gap between Team Nemesis and Vitality, and we even win with our substitute player. And he had some bull talk, and of course the result backed him up. So what do you have for him?
As I just said, it was unlucky day for us. We didn't shoot back. They shoot back against us very well, and they were capitalizing so well on our mistakes. So we know how to play right now, and we will make sure that we will win tomorrow against them.
Yeah, I have
Anything
one
else, Penguin?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, go
I need
ahead.
3 words to say to Nemesis, and I want you to tell them what are you expecting for to the next matchup, because we will be interviewing one of you guys, either Dipsy or Slayer, so we will be checking on your calls. I need 3 words for them.
3 words. Just watch out. Like the next match will not be the other one, and we will make sure that we will win it.
Do you expect
Not really,
Big Comics
not 3
playing?
words, but
Yeah, it's okay. It's
Big
okay. Do you
Comics,
expect
no.
Big Comics is going to be playing tomorrow, or they're going to play with Raffen?
it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay, that's what I
actually.
want to
Okay.
hear. Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we really
Yeah,
want.
Okay, that's I'm done
Of course.
for myself.
Okay, so thank you guys, and of course thank you Slay for your time. Hopefully you have a really good match tomorrow. It's not gonna be an easy one, and it's grand final, so it's do or die. Congrats on today's win, and I'm waiting to see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Congrats, man.
Of course. Thank you, Slayer,
Yeah,
and
that's
what a
how
way
you
to-
hype up the
to
finals,
close
man.
it.
Yeah. We need some spicy words, man. I knew that he said we don't care who's gonna be playing, Big Comics or Raffen. We don't care. And that's the answer that you're expecting from a top tier player. Maybe other players will be saying, we want Raffen, so we beat them with their main roster. But the experienced players, or maybe the sneaky peaky players, he'll say just play with whoever you want, and we're gonna be facing them. And I believe that Nemesis are probably watching them, and they already knows how they're gonna be going versus them, and they are already preparing for their death. So that's the quite final that we are expecting to see. From down the upper bracket final to 3-0 clean sweeping LCK, Nemesis should be ready for this matchup.
Of course, they should be. And a small reminder of our playoff brackets. We're currently at the grand final. Long road for Vitality. An easy one for Nemesis, I would say. After I wouldn't say an easy one, of course. They had to play versus Vitality with full distance and playing with their sub player. But I would say it was not that long. They had a very fair and hard game versus Vitality, but they got to the final. We'll see the rematch on our grand final for CFWL Season 1 2026. It's just about time to see who got the title. Will it be the new guys, the new formation, or the old guard will bring it back home?
Yeah, that's a quite matchup that we want to see, and I like that who came from the lower bracket Vitality is not Nemesis, because that's the, if you ask anybody the story of the West League, he will tell you Nemesis will play Vitality, Nemesis will get dropped to lower bracket final, they might have a chance versus LCK, they win, or LCK wins and get back to Vitality, and this is not this year. We need a different story, and we need to check on a different gameplay from the players. So Nemesis now, they are waiting, and I believe that they have the upper bracket, so they will be banning first, they will be having advantages, and LCK already, as we can see on the placements, they secured the third place with 110 points, which is huge in my opinion, and this is not the end of the road for them. They will be coming back. So back to Vitality and Nemesis. Yes, that's the different story. I want to be seeing revenge, but also I want to be seeing Nemesis showing a statement. So we'll be checking on a good CrossFire. We want 5 maps, and we want to see a good games like we've seen from them in the upper bracket finals, and we need it to be strong. Maybe not like today, because today was just clean sweep. We need to show a good fight back for the West League. We need to have a good and strong teams to represent us.
Of course, good and strong are the two words that you're looking for when it comes to international stages. And LCK, Vitality, Nemesis, I would say even Unnights, they are a really good representative for our league, for our West League, and of course I hope that we find something good from them internationally. And for tomorrow's schedule, we got the grand final. We need some hype. It's Nemesis versus Vitality. I wouldn't say back to back, but like back to back games from them. We'll see how it goes in the grand final. Of course, we had a pretty quick stream today, like 3-0 for Vitality. It wasn't a walk in a park at the first 2 games, but the third one, at some point, it felt that it's over for LCK. Once he saw Slayer got that ace, it felt like, yup, That's the ending of it. There is no turning back. And it definitely was. Of course, I want to thank Paladin, Kyle. Of course, I want to thank you, thank our audience, thank our production. And any last words, Penguin?
Just let's keep the words for the finals.
Of course, tomorrow is the final, so see you tomorrow.
This is exactly the kind of game and performance I wanted to see.
This is the Hail Mary.
Every individual player is bringing their A game right now.
That's what I'm talking about. I've had enough of being quiet. I want to get things moving.
Menacing, not able to get
Free! Oh my word, straight out through that smoke just Zane has spotted out Chris here. Yes, Trevor very scared going for that swing.